got you in my sight. I keep all the words you said to me. I get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, now you'll beg me please. Hey.
Disclaimer, read all about it.
Hey, everybody. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay. Sorry, I was a few minutes behind. But as I have said for 3 years now, if I'm not late, there's something wrong. Good to see you, everyone. Ooh, what an interesting few days it's been with the Michael Vaughan case. Awesome. Okay, I saw the 111s. Awesome. Hey, Jeep, I hope you're feeling better, love. Everyone give some good vibes to Miss Jeep. She has had it rough the past year. But I won't go into detail. But just send her some love. Hey, Julie. Chris, girl, what you been doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, Miss Rubug. I am a bit tart today. So I said, about to tart, maybe get a little tarty and then starty for this party, right? It's been a day. So obviously we're going to go over Michael Vaughan's case and kind of clear up some of the obvious, continuing, habitual misinformation on certain things in regards to Stacy Wondra, one of the 4 named suspects at some point. We don't know if they're still suspects. As of November 2023, that was the last time I saw where Chief of Police had stated they're still suspects, specifically Stacy, but not anyone else. It was in an article. I think I have it saved. So anyway, we don't know. We don't really know for sure, but at the end of the day, there have been no charges. Allegedly, police have not contacted at least Stacy Wondra or anyone else, per his words, but we really cannot know that for a fact. I don't know why he would lie about it if it could be proven. But yeah, as far as we know, nothing has come of being named suspects. No charges, except for, Sarah Wondra did have a failure to report a death charge that was dropped. It can be, she can get recharged for that, but it's very unlikely because of the unconstitutional issue with failing to report because of that pesky Fifth Amendment right to not self-incriminate. So it conflicts. And we're going to go over that a little bit in depth for a short time. But the main potato here, the big Idaho potato that we all, I think, or most of us out here want to know, how did they become suspects in the first place? What happened here? Why were they named? What happened leading up to that? Why did it take that long from July 27th, 2021, where Michael Vaughan went missing at 5 years old near his home on Southwest 9th Street? How did we get here? And we're going to go over that. But we're going to specifically start with, and we're going to jump, you know me, ADHD brain. We're going to jump quite a bit because every time in the interview there is a mistake or issue or question, your girl Eve got it. You know she's got it. So before we start, I'm going to check in with chat. And, I'm going to try not to be that asshole who just thinks that just because things look a certain way that they are, well, you must be guilty, or we've been down that road before. I don't know why other creators are repeating it and getting away with it. I guess it's because it is a very unique case in the sense that with the parent speaking out, or the parent speaking out and being kind of protected. I don't know, but let's just look at it from a non-judgmental as much as we can angle, and you can come up with your own conclusions. But what you've heard, just put it to the side for just a second. Just like investigators have to do sometimes when they pigeonhole themselves into a theory that does not fit. They have to start over and clear their bias. Let's do that. How about that? I'm late, but I made it. Good to see you. Hey, Lenny. Good to see you, love. Okay. Good deal. All right. Let's just get started here. Again, Brandy Neal interviews Stacey Wondra on Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. The creator who has kind of helped. She didn't cover Michael's case very often, but she kind of jumped in once the Hate Eve train happened with crime sleuthing, like when all that shit went down and all that crap that I proved was a lie, all that stuff over there. But anyway, kind of after that, she started picking up more, or maybe even before that, I'm not really sure, but I noticed that she had started covering Michael Vaughan's case, specifically going after the 4 suspects. You need to speak, you need to talk, blah, 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 blah. All right. So we're going to pull up that live again. It's Missing PNW Crimes Revisited, which is a mouthful. That's a lot for me. Okay. Not a lot of people, but a few people have covered it so far. And the issue that I'm having again is he's lying. Okay, that's not going to cut it. What is he lying about? Well, he said this and that and this and that and this and that differently 100 times. Great. A lot of people do. A lot of people can't remember 3 years ago. Specifically, the reason why I was on this platform with Michael Vaughan's case was because that was going on with the details of Michael's case. Things weren't adding up, right? Which is important for any tips and leads to be generated. You want to keep his story and his case out there. So you try to, get as much information as you can to then maybe trigger somebody's mind locally, whatever it may be. And so it's ironic that he is held to a standard with his shortcomings, albeit, everyone just assumes that he could pull it together and pull it out of his ass. Well, that's your prerogative, but I don't see that happening because of the inconsistencies that really only matter if it can be proven by like geofencing data, eyewitness testimony, whatever it may be. So you're going to have to back up that inconsistency with something crucial that is damning, like video footage with the crime being committed with Michael Vaughan, because he is alleged to be deceased by J.D. Huff, abducted, and then his remains were buried in the backyard. His remains. That still trips me out and gives me chills because I don't know what to think about that. I really just don't like that. But anyway, his remains were buried in the backyard, dug up, and then moved elsewhere. I just don't know, man. I don't like that. I don't see how anybody could do that anyway as a human being, but it does happen. I'm not sold on this. So I'll show you why. So it's who are the 4 suspects connected to Brandy Neal Vaughan confronts Stacey Wondra. That's a very poorly worded title. I'd probably fix that because it sounds wrong. Who are the 4 suspects connected to Brandy Neal Vaughan confronts Stacey Wondra? I would fix that. Just being honest. Okay, I jumped way ahead because I had to review this about 16 freaking times. So after basically every RSO being outed, which I could care less because you trash, fam. I don't really care about your privacy. But that's her prerogative here. So after going over all of these alleged connections to Stacy Wondra, being the neighbor, and his ex-wife, and everybody that I guess may associate with him or has. I really didn't listen too hard, but there's all these RSOs that she puts up and then, explains. In my opinion, it's kind of weird. I don't think it's a connection to every single one, but it doesn't matter. So then here's how it gets kind of squirrely. Stacey realizes that, they're talking about him, and he comes into chat under, I can't remember, me, and starts kind of going off a little bit. And so he said that he would go up on panel and talk to Brandy, and wanted to talk to her anyway. So this is what it is if you haven't seen it. And the chat was unkind, right? As you can imagine. So let's just get into it. So he asked for a link. He is in a homeless shelter, which, by the way, you're not supposed to out somebody who's in a shelter and their location. It doesn't just apply to DV victims. It applies to anyone. So cut the shit. Quit doing that. That's weird stuff. Do you want somebody to hurt him to the point where he can't talk anymore? Stop the bullshit. You're going to catch a charge, man. Quit it. Hellcat says that woman at the end says there's 4 suspects and maybe more. Who are the others? JD Huff said that there are others outside of the 4 who think that, or who may have knowledge. So that's a good question. I have an idea. All right, let's get it started. I'm going to take my mug off of the screen. Give me just a second, and I'll push play. Hey, Pooh, happy holidays. Good to see ya. You can't hear that? I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. You can't hear that? Okay, 1 sec. Sorry. He didn't say anything worth value yet. Hold on 1 second. I don't know why it's not letting you hear that. Hold on. Makes sense. Yeah, I see what the problem is. All right. Hold on. See if that works.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, all right.
I'm sorry, Brandy, that Michael went missing. I don't know, nor do I have any idea, or have I had any idea of what happened to him. I'm sorry that you're going through what you're going through, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with this. I wish I had more information to give. I know, I see it. Give me a minute.
Yeah, Pooh. You would think. Maybe something will come out of it, though.
Well, I appreciate you coming up. I know you probably don't like me much right now because of what I'm saying, but I do appreciate
No,
you coming
listen,
up.
I get you're trying, you know what I mean? Everybody wants Michael to be found, and I get that. And I respect that, and I want him to be found too. when I said that I've like cooperated with law enforcement out of the four suspects, I'm speaking in the terms of when they could question me. I was the first person to literally go in front of the panel, go in front of them, and tell them exactly our whereabouts that night. Like I know exactly like where we were. I know.
So let's break that down. That's important. He is clarifying, not from me. Don't look at me. Okay. He is saying that when he meant he was cooperating with law enforcement and he went to them to speak, he is saying that he reached out to them because they were reaching out. Law enforcement was asking questions to them. He was in jail. Brandon took off, remember? Adrian, I don't think they could figure out where he was. So Sarah was in the slammy, so you know they came and talked to her with the probable cause before she went to the slammy. So I'm pretty sure that she probably got contacted in April or May of 2022. They were both in jail when they came. They kind of came on the scenes, behind the scenes, low radar. Okay. And I'm going to show you that too. Don't leave. Don't think that you know everything. You're going to want to stick around and listen and watch, because there are things that happened that no one else knew about besides me and the group of folks that were heavily invested in this case. And I'm definitely still invested. But he's saying that he reached out to them after being questioned, I'm assuming, and taking the polygraphs, and he came back and said, listen, blah, 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 blah. All right.
Exactly what we've been doing. Like, I don't.
And the reason why I'm saying that real quick to clarify is because they're saying that he called police to say, I got a confession, Michael's in the backyard, when he's adamantly stating and has stated that he was interviewed to the point of no return and falsely confessed or whatever, which he is the tip, by the way, for why they did the excavation in the backyard. It doesn't really matter if it's true or not. We don't know for a scientific fact. This is what he is saying. And he is clarifying right here that he was the one that reached back out to cooperate and give information at the time of the interrogation.
I don't know what else to tell you guys. Like the same exact statement that I've given the police is the same exact thing I pretty much said throughout the whole entire YouTube podcast that I've done. Like, I don't know what else to give you guys when I don't have anything to give. Law enforcement,
can I ask you a question?
Ask.
The only one question that I've ever had
Yes,
for you
Hellcat.
that I've always wanted to ask you is, how could you give a tip about Michael being in your backyard if you didn't have some kind of involvement?
I didn't have involvement, and that's the thing. And I've already explained that on another fucking podcast with, I think, Brooks and fucking whoever else I did it with. And quite frankly, like, if somebody else gets very familiar with fetal alcohol syndrome, if somebody gets put under an extensive amount of pressure, when that one person is willing to give a statement freely and openly, knowing that there was no involvement, and they keep trying to pinpoint something on you that I never fucking did, number one, I wanted to get them off my fucking back.
Now, I have extensively gone over that in a live where, and the whole reason how I knew it before he even got out of jail or prison was because he wrote a judge on his 2018 or 2020 charge. I think it was 2018, where he explains that he has all of these things and that he didn't understand at the time the plea that he was taking and all that stuff. It doesn't matter if it's true or not with that specific thing. However, it's a pattern. And people who suffer with the things that he does, it's a pattern. They habitually do these things over and over. and he was in a group home for 9+ years, right? And I'm not offended, and I'm not trying to hoorah for Stacy 100% innocence, because we don't know. But if you just calm down and think and look and investigate on your own, or ask politely, you might get an answer, and you can vet it for yourself, like I did. And it's expensive sometimes when you request these records. Okay. So it's a pattern. He did it before. He tried to plea out and scream, I'm sorry. I didn't know what was going on. I was explosive. I got mad. And he's obviously having, or at least using that explanation for this, for being interrogated for 5 days straight. He said he wanted to get them off his back. He wanted to give them what they wanted to hear so that they could go away. It's very interesting to me, and think about this, please. Maybe the investigators really didn't give a shit what he said or how he said it. They just wanted back in that backyard for whatever reason they knew about prior. But they just didn't have all of the information or the details. Maybe there's someone else that they know damn well was in that backyard that wasn't them. We don't know. I have a feeling that that's exactly what's going on, but I don't know for a fact. Because I wonder sometimes, did they ever ask why he did it? What was the motive? I would love to hear that. Allegedly, Brandy Neal has listened to, which I think is crazy, has listened to the confession or whatever. First of all, that's crazy. What investigator is giving you information? I know it's, your missing son's case, but that's a little egregious. When charges have not been brought, it's very interesting. But secondly, I don't know where I was going with that. I think it's weird. I think it's very strange that they did not ask Stacy why. What was the motive? How did you do it? Allegedly, they didn't ask for nothing. So if there is proof that someone has seen this interrogation video and confession, I would love to know if he said how, why, and who, and when, because I would assume charges would have been brought by now. It's really not that hard to think about. If he confessed and gave all the reasons and confessed to how and who and when, we would not be here right now. He would be in jail. There would be charges. It would be on the headlines. What are they missing? Why didn't they ask him for the juice? Why do they want to get into that backyard so badly without asking for the rest?
I was at the point of a fight or flight mode because I didn't know what else to fucking give them. Like, was I supposed to give them what they wanted to hear? Because I've been telling them the same fucking thing. Like, I don't have any involvement. I didn't have any involvement. I don't even know who Michael is, nor did I associate or talk to the family. Like, we literally talked to very few people in our neighborhood, like our subdivision. We didn't talk to many people other than running our fucking taxi company. We talked to literally Carson, our neighbor. We talked to John across the.
So you have to think about this. He's got a taxi business. He stated, in detail, especially to me, how that all went down that day and what police have. Maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe a past client who's been around, came by when he left and knew he was gone and had Michael. We don't know. But I just have a feeling that his taxi business is very crucial. Because remember, he takes someone to Boise Airport. And I kind of have more detail than others about where exactly that is. What shuttle may or may not have been taken back to somewhere else close by to Fruitland. So there's things. And it's kind of sus. And then he picks up, after going and visiting his friend Labor Dave, which we've gone into detail about, maybe, just maybe, the Ontario to A&W trip, maybe there's something there. It was a youngish guy. He wasn't really sure. I think he said they might have footage of him, but was never asked about it. And he doesn't really remember who it was, and it was a cash paid, so he doesn't have a name. Interesting, huh? Wonder who it was.
The street and Hazel, the HOA rep, and Sarah's parents who live behind us. Like, I don't have anything else to give. I have literally openly given my statement time and time and time again, reflecting on what details that I can, like, which is very specific.
The thing is that so many of us have seen you talk and everything else, and there were so many contradictions when you were, up there talking. So it just makes us all question.
Ma'am, were you here at the beginning? I don't know if you were here or if you saw the Twitter. And I know everyone's like, don't bring up the Twitter stuff. Too bad, because that is important. It was the very first 6 months of Michael's case, and nobody heard a thing from anyone until December of 2021, the first national News Nation interview with Marky Martin and Brandy. And Tyler declined. So if we're going to do standards here, are we saying that it's okay, for one versus a suspect versus the last person who saw him? That's the problem here. Why is it okay? Rules for me, not for thee kind of thing, for everybody on the board. Maybe even more so with the last person that Michael was with, who was being taken care of. Right? And I'm not trying to be rude at all. I'm just saying, you might want to go to the beginning. And we going to.
But no, and I get that. But you also got to, you get that. And you also got to take into account, we're talking about something that's fucking 3 years old. I didn't give my statement. I didn't start doing podcasts until 2 years after that. Literally until I got out of fucking prison last November. So it's like you're trying to expect me to fucking remember shit to the fucking T. And I specifically noted in any of the videos that I've done, I said my information may not be 100% accurate to the point, but it is to the best of my knowledge. And I have specified that. I don't know what else to give you guys. All I can tell you is that I'm sorry that this boy has gone missing. I'm sorry. If I had answers to give, I would give them to you. I don't have anything to give. And I want Michael to be found just as much as everybody else does.
The link that was just added to chat is for Brandy, everybody. Just letting everybody know.
So Kimmy says, but as far as the taxi service being something that he could have used to abduct a child, absolutely, he could have used that, and he probably did Idaho to Portland. But he didn't go to Portland that day, right? So it would have had to have been later, right? And I am almost positive that DNA would have been somewhere in that vehicle. I mean, they had it. They have the vehicle. I think they have Sarah's car still. So do we know what vehicle was taken to Portland? I think Portland is a stretch and a half, because I know exactly. I don't even think he knows that I know the details of Portland. It's a big nothing burger, I can tell you that. But that's for another live. We're going to do that later. Right now, we're going to get the basics out, because a lot of people still are so misinformed about the basics.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, Stacey.
It's fine.
But out of everything you could have told law enforcement, you told them Michael was in your yard. No. I'm still just trying to.
Okay. And this is where the circle jerk talk. Wink, wink. It keeps going into cycle. You asked that already. You asked it. I think it is so horrific to tell law enforcement, even if he was interrogated to death, okay? I think it's still egregious to say that or use it for your benefit. I think it's wrong. I 100% think that everything that he gets because of this is due to the fact that he did what he did. I can't tell you 100% certainty that it's true or not. Nobody can. That's why we're here. But how many times do you have to say that over and over? How many times? And not expect him to pop off? Do you think that, and they know this, they're just pushing and pushing and pushing. And then when he finally explodes, like he always does and will, because of his shortcomings, okay, that he was born with, what do you think's going to happen when you push the bear? Poke the bear all the time. And I'm not making excuses, but I'm saying they use that. People use that explosive reaction that they know is going to happen as suspicious. Are you for real? It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to say that someone is suspicious or name suspects or not, use legitimate things, right? Okay, he went to Portland. Did he have a pile of dirt in a wheelbarrow and a shovel and a little kid's shirt on him, on his shoulder? Okay, give me something more than just he went to Portland, it's suspicious, right? And I'm not getting ugly with you, Kimmy. I'm just using that as an example. It's just really frustrating. Yeah.
It makes sense.
I know, and I get where you're coming from, but what else was I supposed to say to get off my fucking back? They weren't listening to the fact that I had zero involvement. I told them that time and time and time again in every one of the fucking interviews that I did with them. Yes, I made it. I 100% made it up. But guess what? They haven't fucking contacted me since. And no, I haven't talked to fucking law enforcement. And if they wanted to talk to me, I'm sure I'd be more than willing to talk to them. Like, yeah, I know. I get where your guys' standpoint is, and that's fine. Like, you guys have your matter of opinions. But maybe study up on fetal alcohol syndrome and what happens when somebody with fetal alcohol syndrome gets put under extreme amount of pressure. Like, it's not like it's easy for you guys to say years ago. You guys will suffer with it. Like,
well, it's not easy. I mean, we all work really hard to try to find the answers.
Lordy skips right over that because that would be that would not fit the narrative, right? Skips right over that and says, yeah, I know it's frustrating. We've all worked really hard. That's not what he said. He's saying that, he has explosive reactional problems from being born with fetal alcohol syndrome. We all get frustrated, but he gets fucking crazy. Okay, he gets explosive. And you're going to see that, and then it's going to be used against him.
And I mean, and I can kind of get what you're saying after it being a long time and stuff, and it's hard to remember exactly what happened. We just are searching for the truth.
No, exactly. But you guys are looking at the whole wrong direction. Like, I'm not. Like, I just want to clarify something. I spoke with a lawyer when I was in CTEC. It wasn't even calling in regards to a lawsuit. It was actually calling on some stuff that the Supreme Court was doing a ruling on for the 922G. That I wanted to get answers. And the lawyer I happened to talk to, his name was Matt, and he actually said that he was retained to represent Brandon if he were to ever get charged. And he asked me who I was, I said, my name's Stacey Wondra. And he goes, why does that sound familiar? And then he looked up and he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, Brandon, I'm actually retained to represent Brandon if you were ever to get charged. I said, okay. I was like, well, this wasn't even, I said, well, speaking of that, I said, can I ask you some questions? He goes, well, I can't give you verbatim information. He goes, because, client confidentiality. I said, that's fine. I said, I'm not asking specifics. I said, but how did we even become to be suspects? And he goes, first of all, you guys were not, per Portland PD, you guys were never supposed to be alleged suspects. You guys were only supposed to be alleged people of interest. And a person.
Say what? Hold up. Let me just back that up. Huh?
Calling on some stuff that the Supreme Court was doing a ruling on for the 922G. That I wanted to get answers. And the lawyer I'd have to talk to,
felons with guns.
His name was Matt, and he actually said that he was retained to represent Brandon if he were to ever get charged.
He was going to represent Brandon Shirtliff, one of the 4 suspects, if he ever got charged. Tina, his mama, came into, I think, the Michael Vaughan Facebook and said, you know, he has been working with law enforcement. They have it wrong. You know, I have an attorney. Brandon has an attorney. So she has verified at least that part. Tina herself, the mother. So it makes sense because I don't think he knew that. I surely didn't say anything. That's for damn sure. But you know, he watches it, so I don't know, but that would make sense. Maybe I know more than that.
And he asked me who I was, I said, my name's Stacey Wondra. And he goes, why does that sound familiar? And then he looked up and he goes, oh yeah. He goes, Brandon, I'm actually retained to represent Brandon if you were ever to get charged. So okay. I was like, well, this wasn't even. I said, well, speaking of that, I said, can I ask you some questions? He goes, well, I can't give you verbatim information. He goes, because client confidentiality. I said, that's fine. I said, I'm not asking specifics. I said, but how did we even become to be suspects? And he goes, first of all, you guys were not like per Portland PD. You guys were never supposed to be alleged suspects. You guys were only supposed to be alleged people of interest.
Well, what did JD Huff say? JD Huff didn't say that. But you know what? I'm not even going to play it because it's been played. All right. I think that was going to be maybe potentially what it was. Just persons of maybe knowledge or interest. But when Sarah popped off with, God Almighty told me who did it after being read the probable cause affidavit, which mentions murder of a 5-year-old boy. She wouldn't have been, by the way, she would not have been arrested if she would have said nothing. Think about that. It's not like they came to arrest her and then search. The only reason why they arrested her was because she said, God Almighty told me just told me who did it. And then she said Stacy at first, which really fucked her over. And then she said, God, that Stacy did it. But Stacy really wasn't the one that did it. It was Adrian because he was there around that time. And he was just too afraid to tell anybody. And Stacy buried him. Okay, that's a lot. That's very incriminating. That's why the failure to report a death charge came about, albeit it's dropped now. So she has told me on the phone, I've spoken to Sarah Wondra, that, she was freaking the hell out. That's what she said. She was off of her meds, her psych meds, and she was freaking out and it shocked her. And she was having a moment, and her words were taken incorrectly. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what she said on the phone. And that's, I guess, because of the probable cause and her mental decline. She was unfit to stand for court for a while until she finally was able to. And I think it took a hot minute, like 6 months, maybe 6 months. So it makes sense. All right. She was not well. But if she would have never said any of that stuff, she would have never been arrested. And we don't know what would happen at that point.
And a person of interest, as I'm sure you guys are all aware, is somebody who they believe that might have relative information or knowledge to help them find this person. We were never supposed to be labeled people or alleged suspects. We were only supposed to be alleged person of interest. The media is the one that had gotten it twisted. And then when I asked him, I said, okay, well, what do they have? Like, what do they have against us? And he literally told me, he goes, well, Brendan wanted to give a statement to the police. And when Brendan, I told Brandon that I'm willing to let him give a statement, but he's only allowed to give it on a conditional statement. And I said, what's that? And he said that the police department needs to provide me and give me all of the documentation and the GPS records of all three of you guys that night. And he goes, and he goes, I want evidence that ties you guys to this. And when he told me that he approached the Portland PD, and I told him that Brandon was willing to give a statement, they literally told him that we don't have any problem giving you all the phone GPS and everything and all the records you want. But as far as evidence, he said, they don't have anything to give. They don't have anything that ties us to this. That's verbatim. And if you guys want to look him up, his name's, I don't know his last name. His name's Matthew, and he works for Murray's Island Johnson in Meridian, Idaho.
Oh my God, my phone's going crazy.
I can
Just
hear
letting everybody know I am not.
So I heard something Meridian, Mary something Johnson. I think that's right. I think that's right. So what he said basically is that the lawyer was going to come out and let Brandon speak and say, I had nothing to do with this, or he was going to speak on Brandon's behalf. And Fruitland said, you know, we can give you all of the geolocation data, but as far as evidence wise, you know, because of an upcoming criminal charge or something, we don't have anything. That's huge. I don't know if it's true or not, maybe, but that's pretty big. It's pretty big. I mean, if that's true, what are they doing continuing to not respond to? Are they clear or not? Or are they suspects? Well, you have to remember, no one, Brandy's words herself, no one will be cleared until charges are brought forth. Not no one, not anyone. She has said this many times. There has never been a clearance of anyone. No one. Matter of fact, the only clearance came from an email, and it's really not being cleared. It was the babysitter. One of the detectives said, we have not looked into you, or you have not been a person of interest as of September 2021. That's the closest clear that we have gotten in this case. No one else has been cleared. You can scream otherwise. It hasn't happened. Not a focus, sure. Argus Observer said that they were cleared, but she admitted in an email to me it was her opinion. She admitted it, and she said that she'll retract it if that ever changed. Okay, so stop the cap. No one's cleared.
Not even looking at my phone right now. Stacy Wondra's up on panel, as everybody can see, and I'm quite busy, so stop blowing up my phone, please. Is there a reason why you've decided to talk more about protecting Sarah and Brandon lately?
I haven't talked about protecting Brandon and Sarah at all. I speak for myself, but I also know that Brandon and Sarah were with me. We all were gone that entire night, towing Brandon's vehicle back from Cuna.
Right. I've heard that during your interviews and stuff before.
Nothing's changed. I'm not protecting Sarah. I'm not protecting Brandon. I can only protect myself because I can only speak for myself. But
I just heard a recording that Brooks had recorded here recently when you were quite upset with her over the cease and desist, and you actually
no, that was her warning. That was her warning, and that's already been reported to my lawyer. I'm not even tripping. It's fine.
Oh no, I was just saying it was during that recording that I heard you say that, you know, you can protect Sarah and Brandon. So I'm just wondering.
No, I wasn't saying like protecting Sarah and Brandon. I was speaking in general conversation. Like I don't speak as in like protecting them as much as I do knowing where their whereabouts were that night because they were with me. We were all together that night.
Okay.
And first of all, like I want to point out, but like another thing that I want to point out is, don't you guys find it a little odd how they have all this, you know, CCTV video footage of us being parked on the side of Southwest 8th Street when I put power steering fluid in the truck, and they have video footage of me pulling in the fucking splash pad to get my can of chew out of the fucking side of the passenger side of the car. But coincidentally,
well, from what my understanding is, the CCTV camera picks up more towards the end of 8th.
No, that's not because Southwest 8th Street wasn't at the end. It was right directly outside of our subdivision. Might I mention that there's a neighborhood watch which have cameras all throughout the fucking neighborhood, so they can pinpoint us leaving our neighborhood. They can pinpoint us being parked on Southwest 8th Street, and they can pinpoint me being at the splash pad at 1:30 in the afternoon. But somehow, some way, they can't fucking pinpoint where Michael is. They can't pinpoint anywhere on video footage. I mean, don't you guys think it's a little fucking weird?
Did law enforcement tell you?
Absolutely, they fucking did. Yeah, they showed me every fucking thing. That's what I'm like. You guys don't even understand. Like you guys, like I get, you guys like to play detective, and that's cool. Play detective. But you're not the one that had the encounters with the fucking Fruitland Police Department, nor the detectives, nor fucking highway or fucking Idaho State Police or the fucking FBI. Little do you guys know, I'm the one that voluntarily gave a fucking polygraph test and passed it with flying colors, specifically the 5 questions that they asked.
Are you the only one that took polygraph
No,
tests?
Sarah and Brendan both did it because they both got brought in the same day.
Are
Brandon
you
got,
aware of one of your friends that came up on my panel a couple of weeks ago?
who's that?
I don't know. She was a blonde. If anybody in chat remembers her name, her like YouTube name, she was saying that she was your friend, and then she pulled you up on her phone.
Okay. So we got to go and jump over there real quick. All right. So I'm at 2 hours and 8 minutes. All right. So we have to go back to her live, her other live, and listen to her. I don't remember her name, but it's like cousin.
I'm gonna drop them. All right.
Country
I'll talk to you
cuz.
later.
Brooks is the one that started this shit because she called me yesterday and I fucking hit her with fucking
Brooke starts a lot
Okay,
of
I'll talk to you
shit.
in a second. All right.
Okay, so this girl comes up because she's in
Adrian
chat
is at that home.
saying this is some bullshit. No, I really honest to God don't know the relationship between this woman and Sarah and Stacy, but she knows them. I don't know if they were dating. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. But let's listen to what she has to say.
You see from the media, but I know them personally, and I'm going to stick up for them because what you guys are saying is not true or factual. Show me your receipts. Show me where you're getting your information.
Well, our information comes from Fruitland Police Department. They dug up the backyard from the tip that was given to them by Stacy Wondra.
Yep, you're correct.
But the
And Michael's
Pope
body was in
twins
that
are
backyard
not
and then
from
moved.
law enforcement, is it, Samantha?
According to the evidence.
What evidence, though? No, that's what you're speculating. What evidence? Show me the evidence. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He made an accusation.
Thank God. Thank God somebody else is asking the same questions I am. What evidence are you referring to? Because law enforcement hasn't said shit about any. Based on evidence, this is what JD have said. We believe, based on evidence, not whose evidence, who it belongs to, who it pertains to, based on evidence, Michael was abducted and he is deceased. And his remains were buried in the backyard and then were likely moved. Or no, I'm sorry, was likely buried in the backyard and then moved. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really, he didn't say who. He didn't say how. Kind of almost sounds like he knew that from a long time ago. Or at least the first part. But he was murdered. It's in the probable cause affidavit, the leaked probable cause affidavit. When they got to the part that said murder, she freaked out. Sarah said, "Oh God, God Almighty told me he did it." So they already had an idea that he was murdered. And if Stacy was the one to give that tip, okay, they would have had to have known exactly what happened to him. They might know. They might already know exactly or have a pretty good understanding. And they're just looking for his remains. That's it. And maybe they did a little shady shit to get in that backyard because they think maybe that's where he was. And they didn't care how it affected 4 people. I don't know. But the way that this is sounding, what evidence? Where? Who? When? Why? I don't see any.
It's not true. If it was true, 3 years after the fact, why is he not arrested? It went to the grand jury not once, not twice, but 3 times. Where is the evidence?
Now, I think that she's hearing that from Stacy. But we do know for a fact that 2 times they tried to go to the grand jury. It is in articles. One of them was outed on accident by Payette County themselves because they didn't think to not put grand jury on the commissioner jury check-in website. Whoops. I've showed that a million times. So absolutely went once. JD Huff admitted that they're trying again. I think it was in 2023. And it failed. But we don't really know exactly who the grand jury was really about. We really don't know the details. I don't think he does either. Those are very private and secret proceedings. It just so happens that nobody can keep their mouth shut about it over there. So I don't know about 3 times, but for sure 2. And we don't know who it was about. They just assume because there are 4 suspects out there that it's them. We don't know. And we won't know.
But how do you know how many times it's gone before the grand jury when the grand jury is all private proceedings?
It's not private proceedings. Look at the Argus. Look at what's put out on the media. It's not private.
Right.
It's not.
It was
private.
supposed to be.
Well, there are 4
The
suspects
Argus
in this
Observer
case. And
outed
it's
it.
Stacey Wondra, Sarah Wondra,
It's true.
Brandon Shurtleff, and Adrian Lucian.
Yes.
And that information is given to us by Fruitland Police.
Yes. Okay.
And
So
we do know that 4 feet of dirt was dug in that backyard. We do know that cadaver dogs hid in that backyard.
I want you to listen to this clip. It is from KTVB, and it was an update on the excavation as it was happening, I think the day after. But it is very interesting.
Doug, law enforcement have been out here since Friday after they
Told you we
received
were
a
jumping.
very credible tip. That is what the police department told us, suggesting that Michael Vaughan's possible human remains are in this nearby neighborhood, specifically this backyard over here. You can see, let's take a little bit of a walk. The road has been closed to through traffic since Friday evening. You can come over here, you can see this crime scene tape, and then continuing walking, you can see there is they're excavating the entire yard. We were told about 3 to 4 inches. You can see that dump truck there. They have been taking piles of dirt out since about 11 a.m. this morning. Where they're taking it, they said they're taking it to an off-site location where it will be processed. Now, like I said before, police obtained a search warrant and began working Friday night. They have plans to dig 3 to 4 feet deep. You can see a backhoe.
So, did y'all hear it? I'm going to play it one more time because nobody caught it in the chat. I got to play it again. Listen to inches. When you hear inches, 3 to 4 inches. And then what she just said about 3 to 4 feet. All right.
Crime scene tape. And then continuing walking, you can see there is they're excavating the entire yard. We were told about 3 to 4 inches. You can see that dump truck there. They have been taking.
Now, I thought this was a misunderstanding. She meant 3 to 4 feet. No, it was in an article. It was just going to be at the skim 3 to 4 inches, and then it became 3 to 4 feet because that's how tall. First of all, that's how much dirt that they can get without hitting a main pipe. But also, a child could be vertical. And the reason why I say that is because it has happened before where a infant or child has been wrapped up in something vertical and stuck in the ground. It has happened in cases. So that was what I thought in my mind. Could be wrong, but it makes sense to me.
Piles of dirt out since about 11 a.m. this morning. Where they're taking it, they said they're taking it to an off-site location where it will be processed. Now, like I said before, police obtained a search warrant and began working Friday night. They have plans to dig 3 to 4 feet deep. You can see a backhoe just went in and it's being used to dig up the topsoil. Now, Huff said in no way that they believe what they are doing now will contaminate any sort of evidence that they find, if they do find any. Now, crews involved.
Please help me understand that one. I'm really struggling with 2 things, right? The most about this excavation. Well, 3. Again, how do you know that remains were buried? Right? Where did they come from? Who did it? Why didn't you ask Stacy about the deets? And we don't know for sure if that happened or not, but still want to know. And how does hand digging How is it okay to hand dig with your bare hands as a law enforcement officer at a place randomly that Sarah Wondra pointed to in the front yard by the fence, or by the front yard, maybe front door? How is it okay to start digging with your hands? That's not going to corrupt evidence, because that's what happened. It was in the leaked probable cause affidavit. I don't know. Maybe he had to save his ass, his department on that one. Or think about it like this. Maybe they knew what they were looking for. Or what they knew wasn't gonna be there. Because he does say, we just want to make sure that we clear any and all other possibilities. He says it in an interview, JD Huff. Because why? You know already? Because you pretty much already know. You just don't know where he is, and you're going to do anything and everything you can to try to find his remains, because you know that that's the last piece. That's what I think. What do you think?
We do know that cadaver dogs also hit at Brandon Shirtlift's mom's house. That
No,
also puts.
No, that's false. That's false right there. That's false. No, you do not know that. That is fake information. That's not true. That's not true.
And you know that to not be true. Why?
I do, because I know them personally. That is not true or factual. I'm telling you that's not true. Okay, and 3 of the suspects out of the 4 were not there. The one you're not focusing on is Adrian.
Oh, I focused on Adrian.
No, listen to me. Adrian was there. Adrian was there. Brandon, Sarah, and Stacy were not. The one with child trafficking was at the home.
He does not have child trafficking. He has, and let me show you one moment. Sorry, Adrian. Sorry, not sorry, but don't do the crime and don't, all that shit. Aggravated trafficking, if you know how to research. Aggravated. Ohio offense code 292.5.03A2C1E. Sear Eve. I am now Sear Eve. All right. Felony. Absolutely a felony. Happened in 2018. Very, very similar charge in New York around this time, I believe. Yeah, I think, or this might be New York. But anyway, no, this is Ohio. Aggravated trafficking is controlled substances. If you want me to put that up, we can do that. What was it? Ohio code 2925.03. Oh, looky there. Trafficking in controlled substances, not children. All right. No, yes. Yes, he does have other cases out there, but none of them are trafficking children. Not a single one. That is not true. I don't know who told somebody that. I think it's a misunderstanding, because aggravated kidnapping or trafficking, maybe mix the two up. I'm not really sure. If anybody else has actual proof or facts of this that he does, let me know. Let me know. But
He was not out of
I've never
town.
seen it.
He was not with his baby mama. He was at the home. They dropped him off. I have video evidence. I sent it to the police already. Adrian should be the number 1 suspect. Number 1. Stacy, Sarah, and Brandon had nothing to do with this. You're focusing your information on the wrong people.
And maybe
Well,
we
I
haven't
put
heard
my
from Adrian.
focus on all 4 suspects. I do a lot of work.
Why are
You piggyback off of 3 crazy ass people, Samantha. I'm sorry I have to say this. And I feel bad for you, because I think you're a lovely person. You just went too far. You went down the rabbit hole with people who are spinning a narrative, who are faking messages, who are lying to you. When you said the Pope boys, I was like, oh, yes, the Pope boys. Oh, good old CJ. And yeah, well, the Pope boys, it doesn't really matter the details. They were both in jail, first of all. I've proven that on here, but I'm not going to bring up their information because it is, they're going through shit. Okay. I spoke to the twins' adoptive mother, who took care of these twins, and had a long conversation about all of it. And I'll just say this. They are not persons of interest. Okay? They are not. And, you know, take it for what it is. I can't prove. I'm not going to prove it. I'm not going to show messages. But every single, you know, person or group of people that these fuckers have tried to go after to make them guilty somehow because they have really bad backgrounds, who were very young and naive, when Idaho has the worst drug problem out there, and gang problem, and trafficking problem, drug trafficking to be exact. You're targeting people just to target him. And yeah, I just don't want creators to fall into that trap, because it's happening.
With people that know this.
Why are you not talking about Adrian, who was there?
You obviously have not watched a lot of my shows, because I have covered Adrian. I've covered Adrian and the people that he speaks to, the people that he's thrown under the bus, which are the twins from Idaho.
Okay. When I talked about faking messages, this situation where Adrian says that he did this and that, and he messaged the twin, you know, or whoever it was talking to them, I'll just say, be careful who you speak to. Be careful where you get your information from. Just because there's words typed under his account name doesn't mean it was him, right? Be careful.
Well, you were incarcerated when you gave the tip, and then Adrian wasn't around, so that
Answers to give you directly other than what you have already said.
she talks to you. She was saying that she was your friend, and then she pulled you up on her phone while she was up on my page, saying that Adrian was at the house when you guys left to go to Kuna night. And we know that you've said that Adrian was not at the house that night, but your friend was saying that he was.
I don't know.
So I'm just
A
curious.
blonde friend? I don't have any blonde friends. I'm sorry.
I don't have. So that was Country Cuz.
Her name was Cuz, C-U-Z. And then when she came up on panel, it came up Country Cuz.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
She talks to you all the time. And
Adrian was at the house because he was the only one that was left there when we had left. Because we had asked him if he wanted.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if 18 of his friends come up and say, this is true, this isn't true? It doesn't matter. Prove otherwise. Just because he says something suspicious, whoop-de-doo, Basil, prove that it is legitimate. It's very easy to gang up on folks without proof. Very easy. A lot of creators do it. It's very easy to fall into that trap. But the moment you get receipts, you know, a good creator who says, hey, why don't you look at it from a different view? Maybe slow your roll a little bit. Don't look like Boo Boo the Fool out here. And hell, I could end up looking like Boo Boo the Fool. I don't really care. But get some actual facts, not, you know, sneaky recordings. I've learned my lesson on that, even though it's a little different. Renting out a room to some suspect, you know, and then recording them without their knowledge, right? There's better ways to go about this, y'all.
Wanted to come with us that night, and he said, no, I'm going to stay home. And
so you're saying that Adrian was at the house when you guys left to go to Kuna?
Yep. And I told you, I specified that on panel.
Oh.
But he didn't have access. He didn't have access to any of our vehicles. We don't ever leave our fucking vehicles or any of our means of transportation anywhere in the house. And we would never let him drive our vehicle.
Was he there when you guys got back home after
Yeah.
the towing?
Yeah, he was in his fucking room.
Okay, so keep that in mind. You know, he's in his room when they got back. Dogs come in into the neighborhood that evening, into the morning, and throughout that time, never hit. Nothing hit. And allegedly they're saying that, you know, he was buried later, right? Everybody has that conclusion that, okay, well, they took him somewhere else because they went to Kuna. And then they go back to Kuna and grab Michael and bury him, right? Is that's the consensus, that they took him somewhere else. Whatever happened. They come back at a later date and bury him in the backyard. When? Where was he originally? Did he get buried, moved again? Twice? 3 times? How many times? Do you know how impossible it is to get away with it once, let alone twice? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe this is the case where they think whoever it is going to get away with it. Maybe he was buried and then moved there for a moment, for a smidget of time, and then moved again to the river, perhaps. Maybe he was moved shortly in little spurts towards the river from whenever and whoever harmed him, or if an accident occurred or something. Who did it? Maybe they're trying to finally get to that last point of rest, which I think is the river. And the reason why I say that is because J.D. Huff said, if I could dam the river, the Snake River, I would. So let's continue with this one and go back a little bit. So Adrian's apparently at the house, just in the room when they get back. Let's see.
That in no way that they believe what they are doing now will contaminate any sort of evidence that they find, if they do find any. Now, crews involved in the search include Idaho State Police, Fruitland Police, Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Fruitland Public Works, and the Fruitland Fire Department. 2 canine dogs, were also here earlier this morning. They have since left, but crews are telling me that they are very hopeful and that they are grateful for all of the community.
So 65% accuracy. Decomp doggies, it always depends on the trainer, always, and how they've been trained and what kind of dog they are. There's a lot of different factors. Per Harry Oakes, the expert in dogs from Washington, who was an ex-Portland deputy sheriff, I believe. Yeah. Who I spoke to in length. So depending on the trainer, depending on the dog, on a good day, on a good year, rather, collectively, 65% accuracy. However, 3 dogs hitting, I would say there was something back there. For sure. We just don't know what and how and who. Maybe police know, and it's a different angle than we think.
Support.
We just have to.
Or maybe it's exactly what it is.
And if it yields, it yields. You know, I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword.
For a very long time, I used to poke fun on my lives with J.D. Huff. I think he's a handsome fella. But I would always be like, he's going to say, if it yields one more time, isn't he? Because he would do it in press conferences. And I'm like, damn you, J.D. Huff. If it yields, sir. I thought you were more confident. Right? But this is how little evidence I think that there is in this section or this stage in the investigation. I think it's just a crapshoot to find his remains. But let's just back that up a little bit. If it yields, it yields. Boy.
I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword. Do I hope? Not really. I hope that Michael is still alive and that we can bring him home
Hey,
safely
Jennifer
to his
Reed.
family. but we also know that we need to find resolution to this case, and you know, we need to just follow the leads and follow the credible information, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Crews have been out here since about 10 a.m. this morning, and they did take a brief break around lunchtime. There were some possible safety concerns for the crews regarding utility lines and such, but you can see now they have since resumed. Now, a family spokesperson said the family thanks the community for all of their supports, but that they're requesting privacy at this time. Now, as far as a timeline, we don't really have one. Crews are expected to work until it gets dark tonight, but the police chief did say that they will most likely be out here tomorrow. Continuing to work, Doug.
All right, so very interesting, right? Very interesting little section of coverage. All right.
I'd personally never heard that before, so.
No, yeah, no, he was in the room. Like, he was in his little fucking bedroom that he fucking destroyed when he left with his fucking little pubic hair of his fucking head. Like,
Do you know who the Pope twins are?
who?
The Pope twins?
No.
They were in jail
I have no idea
that
who
night.
Like,
and the day before, so
I know.
stop it.
I just know you get upset sometimes. I don't know if we're going to have a very upset, screaming, yelling mama here or not, but please, no matter what she says or does, let's just keep her cool and, you know, try to talk to her the best you can, please, without calling names or
that's
yelling
fine.
or anything.
I'm not even tripping.
Okay. Does somebody have that link, please, for Brandy?
All right.
I did not copy.
So here we go. Brandy has a little bit of technical difficulties when she comes up at the beginning. So be patient while I work through it, because I don't remember what timestamp it was.
Because I'm in name, it's okay.
Throwing up the link again. Okay, here's Brandy. I'm adding her up now.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Brandy. How are you feeling?
This is not well.
I'm sorry, honey.
Hello, Mr. Wondra.
You can address me by my name, it's okay. We're all.
That's my preference.
I got you. That's fine.
I have so many questions. So many. One, your lawsuit and slander. It's
I understand it must be shocking, right, to speak to a suspect in your son's case, right? However, that was a hell of a question about slander. And the reason why I think it was so important was because I think that that was definitely being threatened by others who spoke out about the inconsistencies from the parents, right? Or at least specifically what was being said about what happened that day. So maybe it was a personal thing, because I think that that was definitely being waved around a little too much in the beginning.
not slander if you're a named suspect, correct?
Not a named suspect. That was the media that fucking got it twisted.
Excuse me, named suspect.
I can't hear you very good, Stacy, and I think it's because you got your things in. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
By the way, Jen, congratulations. She's in chat. Congratulations on your new journey. I'm so happy for you.
Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Let us know if you can hear both of them, please, in chat. And then I'm just going to hand you.
Different times in all these.
About the 5th interview that I had with them. After
So
telling
was
them this, after telling them the same about the 5th interview that I had with them.
okay.
Let us know if you can hear both of them, please, in chat. And then
Sorry, I
I'm
got
just
click
going to hand it
happy.
over the stage to both of you guys.
So Stacy,
No.
why did you contact law enforcement and say that you gave that tip about Michael being buried in your backyard?
I never contacted them. It was when they approached me and about the 5th interview that I had with them. After
So
telling
was
them this, after telling them the same exact statement that I've given them the last 4 times.
I've
If
been
you
trying
had,
to put like a timeline of everything together. Like from your recollection of that day with what I've seen you do with the internet with YouTube creators and stuff. I've tried to watch all of them, and you talk about your timelines and everything, and then you've discussed about your timeline with law enforcement. I'm just curious because you're stating all these different times in all these different people, these different people's interviews. I'm sorry, you have to forgive me right
Look at
now.
Purple Phoenix. Look at Purple Phoenix in the chat. Do you need me, love? Do you need your army? Let me come up there. Give me a link. She was fiending for a link. Good Lord.
One, I'm very, very sick. My mental fog is
oh,
absolutely hell. And honestly speaking with you is,
not easy.
no, sir,
I
it
don't
is not
blame you.
easy.
I don't believe you. I mean, I don't blame you. Like, Brandy, I've been trying to talk to you for like a minute, and I know it's taken a lot. Out.
And Stacy, you cut out.
Sorry.
There you go.
Like, I know it's not easy talking to me, Brandy, and I've like, and it's not, you know, it's never gonna be easy talking to me because I'm like, and all you've heard is you know, my videos that I've done with either, you know, law enforcement or
Jen, you
done on
didn't know
YouTube that I've never
this?
directly spoken with you.
Girl.
Like, I need you to know, Brandy, I didn't have anything to do with your little boy, nor did Sarah, and nor did Brandon. We would never allow ourselves to be involved or play a part in something as serious as like this, let alone, like, yeah, I have a felony history.
Real quick. He has changed his story on this. It wasn't me. It was them. They had to have. It was Brandon and Sarah had to have. With no evidence or nothing saying, you know, why. But then he would switch it right up and say, well, I mean, they were with me. I just don't know when they would have harmed Michael if they did. He flip-flops. I mean, when he gets riled up, it gets very obvious. A lot of people think that he gets riled up because he's caught in a lie. No, it's actually the opposite. He gets riled up and fucks up whenever he gets angry for saying the same thing over and over, but no one wants to recognize that. But no, he's wrong on a lot of stuff. I don't know if he even realizes it. It doesn't really matter because the geofencing data, eyewitness testimony, camera footage, all of those things are going to be what bring this case together, no matter what anybody says. So hyper focusing on the inconsistencies is what we do in this community. But if you have proof of exactly when it actually happened, it's hearsay from everybody's perspective. You can't prove it. Why say that they have something to do with it or someone's guilty when you don't have the actual receipt? You know what I mean? I just don't understand.
History, but guess what? My felony history doesn't pertain to sex offense crimes. I have 2
Hi,
federal gun
Jen.
charges
You good?
and 4 state felonies, 1 in Idaho and 3 in Oregon. Like I want your boy to be found just as much as everybody else does. It's not fair. And I wish that, you know, that he could be brought back to be reunited with you because that's what you deserve. I wish that I could magically make him come back for you.
Okay.
Like, I hurt every day because I feel for you guys. And if I could make some fucking magic happen, I would. If I could fucking automatically just play the the psychic detective, I would. I don't have anything to give you, Brandy. And I'm sorry you're suffering, and I'm sorry you're sick. I wish you didn't have to be sick, because it's not fucking fair. Huh?
I'm asking Brandy if she's there. Do you have any more questions?
Okay. I mean, what
Brandy,
do you
can
do with
ask me any
that?
questions you want.
You can accept
I
it
can
or
only
you,
give you
you
the truth,
can't.
and everything that I've said before. There's no difference to it. I wish I had answers to give.
So no shade to Deets here, but Deets on the streets comes in and goes, maybe you can start by giving her some answers. He has said, ask me anything, I'll give it to you. Ask me anything, I'll tell you. Why would you make the claims you initially did if you were not involved? He already said it twice. Timestamp 2 hours and 8 minutes in was the, I think, second one. He probably repeated it again. All right. He's going to do it a few more times. But the audacity to be irritated about saying it for the 18th time. And hey, it's on him though. He false confessed or maybe confessed, whatever it is. He did it and he has to own it and he's going to have to live with that. Right? And maybe criminally, I don't know yet. But he did that to himself. And that's very harmful to give false hope if it was a false confession. So
Give you directly other than what you have already said.
Oh, I got kicked. Ah, I'm behind it. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
I can hear you.
What is that?
Why do I have another Brandy Neal trying to pop up? Did you try popping up twice?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Drop that other one.
Drop the other one. Okay. Hold on a second. Here we go. All right, you're there and we can hear you now.
okay. And I think it's very interesting that the new big whammy against him is that he called LE and told them X, Y, and Z. I want you to understand that the Idaho State Police would be the tip, okay? Not Stacy. It was Stacy that gave them the information when the investigation or interrogation was happening. And potentially Chris would have done it if he was assisting in the interrogation. I'm not really sure yet. I can't remember. I always keep forgetting. I keep forgetting that. But at least for sure, Matt Sly from Idaho and maybe an FBI agent. I don't know. But that is the tip. We received a credible tip. I don't know what's more credible. Think about this, guys. I don't know what's more credible than getting someone to say he's in the backyard when it's from the interrogator, the agency of the interrogation. Okay? Meaning Idaho State Police, FBI, whatever it is, Cold Case Foundation. Maybe that's exactly what was needed to get back there. I don't know. But we received a credible tip. They could have just said, Stacy Wondra confessed. They didn't say that. Never, not once. They said we received a credible tip. Play that over and over and let it sink in what I'm saying. Okay? It's huge. Because how many times have we seen news break of an excavation happening or digging in a landfill or whatever it may be over the years where they received a credible tip by a local or a witness? A confession is from the perpetrator. Always. And they will say that. They didn't this time. They got a credible tip.
Somebody got people talking in the background. Is that your house, Brandy?
No, it's me. I'm out in the shelter.
Oh, okay. I know you're having a hard time talking, Brandy, and I'm sorry.
Brandy, it's okay. You can ask me your questions when you're ready. I don't answer everything as honestly with an honest answer, but ask him when you're ready.
I think it was too soon for this, for her sake, because she's sick. Going through a lot right now.
Is there anything that you have to say maybe about Adrian or anything and his involvement in all this, or anything?
I can't.
She just
All I
did.
know is that
He
Adrian-
just did. He just said, I can't speak on Adrian. He damn well could be the one. We don't know. He said he was in his room. That's it. He was in his room that he destroyed before he left. Did you see the, did anybody catch that? What I was doing earlier? Oops. Stop. Let me pull it up. This happens all the time in these comments. Local. I went to a garage sale. They're meeting the Wondras. Her parents ran the garage sale and had a poster up to give away their dog. Their dog was in the backyard. Remember, Stacy was in jail when she got out from her being in jail. So they had to get rid of the dog, I think, during that time. So they offered us to go in the backyard to meet the dog. We didn't, but it still bothers me that there was a dog in that backyard for who knows how long. My mind is going places I don't want to post. She was telling you to go on back there. If you were guilty of something or had knowledge of something, wouldn't you not want anybody to go in through the backyard? Oh, I've got about 3 other reports here where the police came into the house. One of the suspects here said, come on in. Come on in. I'm not even here right now, but please come on in. You can check whatever the issue was. I mean, and I've gone over this many times. So why would you have a child in your backyard buried and let the police come over 19 fucking times? Excuse my language, but wowzers, you got to have some set of kahunas and no fucks to give to allow that.
Adrian was the only one left home that night. Hold on a second.
And I meant 9 times. Sorry, not 19.
No, she dropped out.
Yeah. I don't know that her link was good. She's coming, she said. She's still coming on. I just don't think maybe.
They had a lot of mental. I wish that I could give you something more. I wish that I could be a psychic fucking detective or an investigator that could just tell you who's responsible for this. What I can tell you is it wasn't me, and it wasn't Sarah, and it wasn't Brandon.
You say you can't speak for Adrian. Said you buried Michael in the backyard.
Just like she said that her name was Stacy in court. Just like she said that the most highest God told me that Stacy did it. Just like the most highest God told me that he was buried in Carson's backyard. This
is the time. This is the time to nail this son of a bitch to the wall, y'all. This is the time. This is the moment. This is the final countdown. You come at him with everything that you think you know. Fuck the police. If they told you something they shouldn't have, oh well, I'm going to ask him. Because this is my child. You come at him with everything. I was really hoping she would come swinging. Even though she's sick. You know? Us moms, we can figure it out sometimes. We can move fucking mountains for our kids. I was really hoping something would come. Not questions from PI assholes and background creators thinking that they're investigators.
Any of her fucking statements make sense? Because I'm pretty sure, Brandy, that I have told the same fucking, given the same statement, given everything. And it's never, and I literally, when I've done the podcasting, that my information may not be 100% to the T, as this is almost a 3.5-year-old case.
1,240 days to be exact.
Okay. And I'm sorry that it's been that long. You should not have to go through what you're going through, Brandy. And I'm sorry that you are. And I'm sorry that you're suffering. Hell no. What is this? A fat
Well, about my tongue on that 1,200 days stuff, I'm just going to zip it.
Were Sarah and Adrian making fake girl accounts to get, how do I say this, YouTube politically correct? Ladies of the night. How does that work? Yeah, is that okay, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So allegedly, what Brandy asked was about Adrian making fake troll accounts of prostitutes to then go and rob people. So it was Tinder accounts that were fake to elicit services, but really they were just going to go rob, or Adrian specifically, potentially to go rob people. This is not a new thing. This is not just an Adrian thing. If that's exactly what he did, I don't know. But apparently she has knowledge of that. I don't. But it's new to me. Absolutely new news. So when I asked him about it, Stacy said that he was making troll accounts and then offering those services. And he did not want Sarah involved in it because Sarah was asked about it. I don't know the truth on that. What do you do with that? I mean, that's shitty, dude. That's shitty. You don't go rob people, but also don't go and want prostitutes through illegal means, right? Yeah. So anyway, I don't really know where to go with that. You guys can draw your own conclusions.
You say anything you want to, Mama?
Did you know about that, Stacey? Did you know Sarah and Adrian were making false accounts to get working women?
No, I did not. But I also know that Adrian had approached Sarah and said that if you help me create fake accounts, that I'll pay you a percentage. And I remember telling Sarah specifically, don't fucking do it.
So you didn't have any involvement in them setting up fake accounts to
No.
guys
And
rob them
no,
because they
not
were
at all.
smarter than you?
Not at all. I wouldn't allow myself with that.
They didn't set that up? Oh, but so you knew that they were setting it up, but because
No,
they
no.
were smarter than you, Adrian and Sarah were, that they were going to do it to rob these people so you guys had money?
No, and we never, to my knowledge, the only income that we were getting, Brandy, was from our taxi, from doing taxi rides. There's a reason Aero Express got put out of business because of their pricing and how they were out charging people. There's a reason we were the only taxi company in Fruitland, between Fruitland and Ontario. Like, that was our source of income.
That was the only, what happened? Oh, the lube company.
The lube company didn't work out because Arturo Rojas, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Mm-hmm. The owner of the lube business that is actually like demolished. The whole bay is gone. Crazy. And that was because of Arturo. I'm assuming.
Stacey, oh, there you are.
I'm right here. I'm sorry.
She's made up women.
No, like Arturo Rojas was the owner of the Looks New, the detail building that we were renting a shop bay out of.
Mm-hmm.
And in our contract agreement that we assigned, it said that he would allow us to use the air compressor that was set up.
Looks New car wash in Ontario. I think it was on 18th Street, maybe, or Avenue, something like that. It gone. I think it's East 1st Street. I could be wrong, but one of those. But it's no longer there.
And the wash bay system to be able to spray off the concrete inside the shop so that we didn't leave oil stains.
Yeah, we know.
And we had and when his daughter had come in there doing an inspection.
Yeah, she knows that because. Yeah, she knows.
Talk to us. I had the air compressor going, and she threw a fit about it, and then it caused a huge conflict with her and her dad, and we just decided that look, like, we're not going to do this. Like, we.
By the way, Side note, I know I'm pausing a lot, but Purple is losing her fucking shit. She's in the back of Sam's StreamYard wanting to come up. Grab me that link. I'm here for you, Brandy. I'm here, anything you need. And it's funny because she never gets to get on. But she was trying so hard.
It was in the contract that you would allow us to use the air compressor and the stuff in the shop until we were able to get our own air compressor and get it on our feet. And so that's the reason we had moved out of that shop. We've also had a company called Wondra Mechanic and Repair. And that was only a temporary and get money from people. And I specifically told Adrian and Sarah, I said, no, you guys shouldn't be doing this shit. That's illegal, number one. And number two, it's not right to take from people.
Okay.
And I specifically told Adrian because he claimed that he got disability or fucking workers' comp out of the state of New York somehow or some way.
I don't know about workers' comp, but homeboy got into a bad wreck when he was getting chased with that girl in New York. The wreckage, ooh, it was bad. Now, I don't know how that works. I think she was driving potentially. Yeah, no, I think she was driving. The lady that Adrian was with in New York. And it was on a chase. And he got hurt. He had to have. Everybody had to have because damn, the footage is bad.
Because the whole deal was when we agreed to let him stay with us, it was, oh, I'll pay you $250 a week to rent out that room. When we're like, okay. And then when the first week came, and because he's like, oh, I get paid this such and such day. I forget what day it was. He's like, when I get paid this day, I'll give you guys $250. Well, that day came, and he's like, oh, well, my money didn't hit. And then we're like, okay, well, we're just gonna add it on to, what you owe us for this week. Well, then the next week. I'm sorry. I apologize for being,
Thank you,
swearing.
Stacey.
I don't mind the swearing. Absolutely not. We know why you have a stickler, but if it's bothering other people, definitely.
I know, and I apologize, guys. I'm sorry for the words. Brandy,
Thank you for-
I can't
Sorry,
give
Stacey,
you.
go ahead. I really want to hear more about Adrian and his time with you guys, because I want to understand more of this. Was that okay? I'm sorry. Please continue. Finish what you were stating about how Adrian didn't pay you the $275, and then the next week you were at the next week. I'm sorry.
So after the second week came, he was like, oh, well, I can only give you $150. Well, it became a repetitive pattern. And see, when I specifically told Sarah, and I looked at her, I said no, and I looked at Brandon or Adrian too, and I said no. For you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it sounds like to me, Stacey, Adrian is maybe a pretty bad guy, and it sounds like he got.
Well, that's
not
what
a
I
good
told
one.
Sarah, because that's exactly what I told Sarah after we went to bed that night. Conversation with her. When
Adrian, Brandon, and Sarah have been named suspects in the abduction of my son, Michael Joseph Vaughan. I have looked into a lot of things. I court documents. What was the domestic violence involved in that Adrian was involved in July 2021? I believe it was July 24th, 2021. So he would have been living with you at that time.
I have no knowledge of any domestic violence. No. When we started getting initially when law enforcement
that was of his own family member, literally his own family member when he was younger. What she's thinking of, I think, is the California lawsuit. It's child support. Baby mama in Cali, if you don't pay your child support, you can get endangerment charges. Child endangerment charges because you're not taking care of your child. And if there's any claims in the civil report for child support there, DCSS, I think it's called, whoever puts stuff in that report, like he threatened to kill me or beat me and the child, criminal charges can come from that. I'm not going to go through the docket. It's like $7.50 every time you get documents from Orange County. So fuck that. But I think she's confusing her dates.
When your boy had gotten abducted, when the police department and the detectives had came and done meeting with everybody, when the detectives got done meeting with everybody within our household, I believe it was Juanita or Anita or whatever her name is, came and told us, you guys know that Adrian's a known human trafficker. And I was like, what? Because here's we don't do background checks on the, you know what I mean? We didn't we're Christian people, we felt like helping people was what God wanted us to do. So
Potentially,
what would be the point? You know,
maybe.
like maybe, you know, definitely like in the future, if this ever like were to help somebody out, yeah, I'm gonna vet everybody. I'm gonna do background checks, but that's like a video arraignment or a video sentencing because a lot of times they do that. I don't know. Like I don't know anything about it.
Okay. Well, that's just one of the things that popped up. That's been kind of stuck in the back of my head. Tell me more about the scam that Adrian was trying to run. Isn't that a scam used for human trafficking?
So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything other than that he had.
See, this shit is all, guys, this shit is all coming from this group that tried to, first of all, pin it on the neighbor to the left where Michael went first. Then they tried, well, first of all, they pinned it on the babysitter solely. Then that shit didn't work out. It's the same group. And I don't understand why law enforcement won't nip it. Maybe they're friends. Maybe CJ and Juanita are close. Maybe Juanita and Brandy are close. I mean, Juanita definitely likes and loves and gives all of the support, which is great. But as an investigator, you're like, I think you're a little biased. So, and it's concerning. So that's concerning to have a PI go out there and I guess do your dirty work for you when Kremen didn't know who the hell she was when I asked. Kremen didn't know who Level-Headed was either. Yet they were working with police. So I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned for the safety of locals. Be careful who you're talking to. That Kelly chick that was the roommate for Stacy. I worry about her too. I think she was taken advantage of.
Approached it that night and I shut it down. So whether he was doing it after, like behind my back, and if Sarah knew something about it, then that's like between them. I cannot speak on that.
Okay.
Breached our lease, if you know what I mean. Like, then so that
Mistaken going from,
because all he wanted to do was get his, he wanted to get some, and so we set the stipulation. Look, like, we don't want you.
It doesn't even matter.
Come stay with you or whatever, or like be in our house, and having to listen to you, whatever. I have domestic violence charges. Like, what did you do? Who did you go see a female? And sometimes it was the same female on different occasions, but he was like most of the time he wasn't home during the day. He was always out trying to, get with someone.
Mistaken going from, to Boise or
Adrian liked to have the wham bam thank you ma'ams. It doesn't prove anything unless he was caught on camera. I think a lot of people forget about the timeline when they're thinking of trying to prove who was guilty. 6:40 to 7 is what the timeline is, or the frame of him being abducted. I don't personally believe it for a minute, but who the hell am I? I think it's way before then. But for law enforcement to say 6:40 to 7, okay, he's not on camera. No one's, there's nothing. There was nothing at the beginning. It makes you go, okay, why do people forget the 6:40 to 7? Because if something doesn't fit the narrative of that time frame, and he makes a good point, or Brandon made a good point in his interview, and they can't dispute it. What about the 1:30 at the splash pad? What about the 1:30? Michael was home and safe, right? Why does it matter where he was at 1:30? Are you going to prove what he was actually doing? Was he plotting and planning? When there's photo of him at the Albertsons at 3:47, where Brandy works, where he was getting his pharmaceuticals prescribed? Oh my God. How crazy.
Nampa from Fruitland is quite a difference to go to California and come back. See where that...
No, and I do. And like I said, if I knew something about him having domestic violence charges, that would have threw a red flag for me. It would have been like, okay, well, why do you have domestic violence charges? Like, what did you do? Who did you hit? Who did you abuse? Who tried to file charges against you? That would have been.
All right, I'm going to skip some of this hoorah because it's not
about Brandon and Sarah being.
It's not like
I can say it, Brandy.
Being intimate. Did Adrian and Sarah have?
I don't think it's important. I don't give a shit.
Can't confirm,
will y'all stop worrying about who was fucking who? Please, YouTube. Please, Brandy. Please, people, it doesn't matter. It does not have anything to do with the abduction of your child, no matter who it is. It's not relevant. There's nothing to suggest that that had anything to do with Michael. And it's kind of disgusting, in my opinion, no offense, to associate that with him. I'm sorry, it's disgusting. And please stop. Unless there's something that's worth a damn about that. I'm sorry, it's gross.
Like me seeing it, I heard that from L.E. or Detective Keller, or whatever, Kellum, or whatever her name is.
Mhm.
And that's how I learned that. And that's also how I learned that she, quote unquote, said that he was a human trafficker, which I didn't learn that until after, when they were doing the search and stuff like that. So that really messed with me, mentally, because I'm like, who?
So Juanita is telling him that after the search, after the search, you know who's a human trafficker, right? So Adrian was brought up, obviously, during the May, June, July when he was arrested. Absolutely makes sense, because they searched the house for weapons when Sarah hit Tanner Butler with a dog bone looking ass. I will never not say that, because I think he's a wow crybaby back bitch. But whatever. Yeah, he's in jail, by the way. So anywho, domestic violence, Washington. So Tanner, cried and called the popo. I mean, I would too if somebody had a gat in my face. And then she tried to hide it at her mama's house, meaning Sarah. So I get it. I'd call the cops too, okay? But that's what started this. If anybody wants to know how this really started, to the best of my knowledge, and to Brandon Shartliff's knowledge because of his interview and Stacy, I would assume. First of all, it was geofencing data that came way, way, way late. Brandy admitted it on Purples once. Or maybe it was Cal Lady. She said, "Oh, I'm so furious. The geofencing data just got back." I think it was in May of 2022. Which is ironic as hell. That's when Stacy got arrested for the gun charge, and all of a sudden, geofencing data came back. And here we go. The ball starts rolling. This is about the time when, the babysitter was getting the worst treatment ever. Tire slashed, being harassed, being threatened, level-headed, and all of his fucking cronies were coming at her left and right, doing interviews with her, going to Purples, being a dick, knowing damn well that they have the babysitter on camera in Nampa, coming to Fruitland to help search. Absolutely erroneous behavior on everyone's part for even thinking she had anything to do with it. And Detective Crimmin absolutely said, "You have not been a person of interest," meaning the babysitter, because everyone was a person of interest up until they weren't, in September of 2021. So, yes, I'm heated about that because she went through the ringer. Pisses me off. A lot of people went through the ringer because of this case, who was falsely accused. So, moving on from that, I'm going to tell you who the biggest supporter of this was, besides Brandy Neal with the babysitter. It was Chrissy Vaughan, Tyler Vaughan's sister. She thought she was the weirdest lady and was convinced, in my opinion, that definitely there was something shady about her. She's just different. Some people are just not like everyone else. Quirky, misunderstands things. But honest to God, she had it right. And the only reason why the babysitter was so hated on was because she was repeating the same information she was given from the direct source, okay? And she got the nth degree for that. And she looked suspicious. But she was just repeating what she was told. So, going forward, what I want to say, to prove where people outside of the family knew about Stacy and Sarah Wondra, at least by May and or June of 2022. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. Let me pull it up. And no slight to Miss Thing. So, this is Babysitter, Twitter. You could see the date, June 7th, 2022. Yeah. Fruitland PD finally reached out to me today. Apparently, someone who shared my photo of Monkey back on August 1st had raised suspicion. But alas, someone thinks I sent this photo directly to this person. Yo, it's called C&P People. Copy and paste. Okay, fair enough. So this tells me, oh, that's a suspect. That's a person of interest. That's a POI. She said last time I had heard from them was in January of 2022. There was a lot going on in January and February, but we won't get into that. We will not get into that yet. So, okay, somebody says, are you saying Fruitland has a suspect? Sorry, I'm not understanding. And she's like, I'm saying I got a phone call because Chrissy Vaughan, Tyler's sister, told Juanita, Detective Juanita Keller, I sent this photo directly to this person. There was not a lot of detail given, but for some reason, this person is on radar. We found out that it was Stacy. And so sit with that for a second. Sit with that for a second. And Green-Eyed, you're already in the chat spewing misinformation. Could you please tell me where in the presser and science where it says that it was Michael's remains that were hit on by dogs? Did the dogs learn English and say that it was his? Okay. So moving on, and I'm not trying to be rude, but damn. So Stacy shared a photo on August 1st. And I guess it puts like the profile picture on, and then you could put the little, on Facebook, you could put the little cover on it because they have like a monkey thing made. And I counted 13 people that day alone who did it that were locals. God knows how many others did it. But because Stacy shared the photo because of the babysitter, the suspicious babysitter who everyone had pitchforks for, Chrissy called Juanita and said, that's suspicious. That's odd, in a Cardi B voice, right? And I am sure that his gun charge and Sarah's Tanner dog bone looking ass incident did not help things. I'm not going to blame it all on Chrissy Vaughan. However, it didn't help that she's planting the seed of suspicion. So as far as I know, and anyone else for that matter, out here on these streets, I think that's where it started. But maybe not. Maybe there is something we don't know. But that was the first person who actually knew, besides the family. Obviously, Chrissy was on it, so they must have known beforehand. Maybe the PI or something. Maybe it was a sneaky PI that was fucking up things from the beginning. In my opinion. You can't bring up good points, Green-Eyed, if you're not thinking clearly. Like, that's not what the presser said. We can go over it. It's just been done so many times, and I know that we don't have a lot of time. I don't. It's Christmas time. By the way, happy holidays. But we can do that. Getting back on track, though, real quick. If there's anything else or anyone who knew that they were suspects besides the babysitter by getting a call, which, by the way, she had to take that post down. Thank God for sleuths who screenshot. She had to take that down because Juanita called back and said, take it down. So they were already on radar, and before the excavation, they were already aware. The family was already aware, at least Chrissy and Brandy and maybe Tyler were already aware of these people.
Who the hell is this dude? And why is he even in our house?
But well, how did he get there? Because I mean,
Because Sarah had brought him. And that's what I told you. So when Sarah had called me and said, I have this taxi customer, he's going through a rough time, like, what do you think about helping him out? And then that's when I told her, I said, you know how I feel about this. We've already been burned time and time again. I said, you're opening up the door to be burned again. Who lives in Portland?
Yeah.
Oh, so Sarah's got, so Sarah did prison time in Coffee Creek, Oregon prison. So she has she calls her Mima, who is Kimberly Wright, and she lives in Tigard, Oregon, which is right out, it's like 45
and I think
minutes.
Kimmy was in the chat.
15 or 45 minutes from Portland.
Well,
And then she also has a friend that she's had for years, since like before Sarah went to prison, named Sarah Gant. And that's all I, that's
Don't
as far as I
forget
know, that's the
Kayla's
only
born.
connect, like people that
But we don't care.
That was something we were very, very strict on, as far as like we didn't have anybody drive cab for us. It was me, Brandon, Sarah, and Carson occasionally that did taxi rides for us. People that I've met on her side of the family. I can show you my contact if you guys would like to see it, because it's specifically listed in my contact.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm not getting angry.
Oh, nothing pisses me off quicker than somebody telling me to calm down, take a breath. I know that that's what her advice was from Chris Madonna, but don't tell me that. Like, I don't care who you are. I'm not going to lie. That would piss me straight off. So all of that I skipped, because I summarized it on my notes. To me, it's not worth repeating. It's who she knows and all that stuff. And believe me when I say it's not important.
I agree. I'm just asking questions of statements that you put online.
Is there a way I can upload this in chat to you guys, or no?
And they're also talking about the trip to Texas.
I don't know if you still talk to Eve. She can post it publicly if she wants, or you can even do it.
I don't know how to do it. Can I post an ad through the chat?
So but where does the so you took the dog the second week in August?
Correct.
Okay. So you didn't take a trailer with a truck to a homeless man?
Look, Amy Church.
Hold on, I got to hold on. No, you're
Slim
fine. Hold
Hauser
on,
says Amy
hold on.
Church. And I've seen this. I can post it. I need to do that. Let me write it down. I don't know where it is exactly, but I have it. I for sure have it, but I have a billion screenshots. So somebody remind me later. But this is a fact. I have the Craigslist screenshot somewhere. Just remind me to post it and I will. It's nothing. Texas is a nothing burger.
I put my email address if you have anything you want to send, Stacy.
Thank you, Sam. I'm sorry I didn't. What better time? I mean, I need answers, and I'm.
You, my love, have.
Thank you all for being here.
You do not
I want to say Vancouver.
about it.
I am so sorry. I accidentally X'd out of the video on accident.
Don't push
Okay.
Okay, so no, so we did. So we went.
I'm not gonna lie here. If we go back, I know she's sick, y'all. I am not shaming Brandy. I feel horrible for her. I cannot imagine how I'm not shaming. But I think that this was not a good time, health-wise and mental-wise, because there's something wrong here. And I'm just going to admit that this is how I feel.
Grandfather passed away.
Her movements.
I really, really want to know about the trip to Oregon, the trip to Portland. I'm very, very curious about that. If there's...
Here's Stacy.
It's just something wrong.
So you can ask him more about it.
I am so sorry. I accidentally X'd out of the video on accident.
Don't push
Okay, so no, so we did. So we went.
Hellcat, it didn't happen.
Amy was only wanting to pay us $200 to go to Grants Pass, and so to deliver the dog. And so I told Sarah, I was like, well, why don't I look on Craigslist and try to find somebody who needs to go ahead, like under ride shares, who's trying to go.
This happened.
And there was an ad on Craigslist. I don't forget.
And I'm going to tell you something. It's on Geo. It's on the. Not only is it proven by Google Maps, it is also proven by her, Amy Church herself, and the other person that was there. Okay.
I forget what this guy's name was, but he had a trailer that needed to be towed because he was trying to get back to his house in, I want to say Vancouver. And so we had dropped him off with his trailer in Vancouver.
That did happen.
And then drove straight to
Mhm.
Grants Pass and dropped off the black lab, the puppy that we had dropped off. And then we headed straight back to Boise, or to Fruitland.
Now, I would be interested to know who that was. I need to see if they were ever at his house before he went and towed it.
So you went from
Fruitland to Vancouver. Or sorry, Fruitland to outside Kuna, I believe is where this guy lived. I think it was like, I want to say it was like Eagle Street or something like that. I don't remember exactly verbatim. Where'd you go?
She fell off for a second.
So
Can somebody please add the link? It is up at the top. I don't know if the link at the top is working, but can somebody post it down at the bottom?
recording studio?
no. This, like you questioned, like, why is she saying that you did it?
Brandy
And that's
wants
why I
to
made
know
the point
about a
of-
recording studio for Adrian, because maybe he was going to record some nasty shit. I don't know.
Why would she go in court and say, "Oh, Stacy told me this," and then or she claimed that she was Stacy? Why would she? Excuse me. Why would she say that? Oh, the Most Highest God told me that this happened. Oh, God told me that Stacy did it. Or you know what I mean? Like her story was like she was going through a very like messed up situation mentally and emotionally, and it's not be known or made stuff. Like I don't think you realize, Brandy. Like I'm a very good person at heart, and I would never allow myself to have involvement, or let alone be known or made known that somebody had involvement without me dealing with it myself and taking it to law enforcement after I beat the fuck out of the person. Like I'm not okay with it at all. And I'm sorry.
Did you tell anybody in Ada County? Anybody
Ada County, no. But what I've learned is that people in Ada County are sitting there 20%. They are in the jail, are trying to give false, what I don't know, that's what I've been told, but they're trying to give something like telling out law enforcement that I told them where this little boy was. And I never would ever talk about my stuff, especially to people in jail. It's none of their business, number one. Yeah, I've been blasted all over the media, so I don't really have to explain myself, other than I didn't do it. I wish I could give you more answers, Randy. I wish I could give you and tell you who the person is that did this. I wish you didn't have to suffer. This is not fair.
No, it's not. Why did Sarah's behavior change so drastically after Michael was abducted? The TikToks, you're her husband.
I know.
Every day, Steve.
Boo, I'm gonna be real with you. I've seen every TikTok she's ever fucking done, and she was off the chain from 2018 on for her whole life. Her whole life. I have watched every single one. Oh my God. It's been rough. And when you actually listen to Sarah's testimony back to back and all that, you get to see how fucked up her life has really been. Not making excuses, but you get to know her. You get to know these folks. They're not ashamed of theft charge or they have a testimony, unlike others who maybe seal their shit, right? They're not like that. They own it. They own DUIs, or if they had one. That's just me. So take my word for it when I say she was off the chain from the jump, especially after her essay, not only as a toddler, as a young girl, but as allegedly a teenager, where she had given her a daughter away for adoption. But she wanted a child, right? Okay.
Stacey, don't you?
Say it again.
You talk to her every day.
Yeah, but I also know that Sarah was very conceited and she hid a lot of stuff. Just like the gun that she held Tanner at gunpoint with. I had no knowledge about her having a gun. The gun that she had, she ended up selling it to Carson. So it made absolutely no sense.
Stacey, would you help me get Michael home?
Ooh, Carson, you're in fucking trouble, buddy.
No,
Okay, say it again.
Will you help me get Michael home? Please.
I can do everything I can. I can help try to find him, Brandy. I don't know where to even start. I want to give you answers, Brandy. I want to tell you who the fuck did this. And if I could, I would.
Okay. Everyone's like, how dare he raise his voice? How dare he get sassy? Well, let's back it up just a second and see what happened. Where are we just getting disconnected?
Like, I don't think you realize, Brandy,
He's in
Can
everybody remember that he is in a homeless shelter? Have you ever been in one? It fucking sucks.
Good person at heart. And I would never allow myself to have involvement, or let alone be known or made known that somebody had involvement without me dealing with it myself and taking it to law enforcement after I beat the fuck out of the person. Like, I'm not okay with it at all. And I'm sorry.
Did you tell anybody in Ada County?
Ada County, no. But what I've learned is that people in Ada County are sitting there 20%. They are in the jail, are trying to give false, quote, I don't know, that's what I've been told, but they're trying to give something like telling out law enforcement that I told them where this little boy was. And I never would ever talk about my stuff, especially to people in jail. It's none of their business, number one. Yeah, I've been blasted all over the media, so I don't really have to explain myself other than I didn't do it.
So, of course, you know, there are inmates, and maybe he did fucking say it, but maybe he also, maybe somebody wanted to get out of jail and thought that ratting on someone when they find out that he's a suspect in a missing child's case. It happens all the time. All the time.
I wish I could give you more answers, Brandy. I wish I could give you and tell you who the person is that did this. I wish you didn't have to suffer. This is not fair.
No, it's not. Why did Sarah's behavior change so drastically after Michael was abducted? The TikToks, you're her.
I don't, Brandy. You didn't have to suffer. This is not fair.
No, it's not.
Sorry.
Why did Sarah's behavior change so drastically after Michael was abducted? The TikToks, you're her husband. You talk
I know.
to her every day, Stacey, don't you?
Say it again.
You talk to her every day.
Yeah, but I also know that Sarah was very conceited and she hid a lot of stuff. Just like the gun that she held Tanner at gunpoint with. I had no knowledge about her having a gun. The gun that she had, she ended up selling it to Carson. So it made absolutely, I can, Brandy, you don't understand. Okay, say it again.
Will you help?
Here's where it goes south in a handbasket. Okay, we are at an hour and a half. What was it? 2 hours and 8 minutes or 9 minutes. It's an hour and 15 minutes of talking. All right. And it just goes south.
Get Michael home. Please.
I can do everything I can. I can help try to find him, Brandy. I don't know where to even start. I want to give you answers, Brandy. I want to tell you who the fuck did this. And if I could, I would. I don't have anything to give you, and I am tore up for you.
Textbook.
I want your boy to come home, Brandy.
Do tell the truth, please.
I don't have any tell the truth to give you. I've told everything I can, Brandy. You don't understand. Yes, I understand that's your boy. I know, Brandy. And if I had an
that wasn't planned.
If I had an answer to bring, no, I don't, Brandy.
You would help me.
Brandy, I would turn. The person in a heartbeat. You don't understand, Brandy. I'm not the person that did this.
Please,
I don't know how much more clear I can be.
Hero, Stacey, please.
Brandy, I want to be your hero and bring him home, but I don't have anything.
I don't want you to be my hero. I want you to be Michael's hero.
I know, and I want to be his hero too, but I can't without having something to give them, Brandy. I'm trying to explain this to you. What do I tell them? What do I just
tell them about Brandon, please?
I told them everything. That's what you don't. Brandy, I'm not protecting them, Brandy. What am I? Because I'm pretty sure I've just told the truth every freaking time that I've done a statement, Brandy. I don't know what you.
Enforcement saying you're a suspect. Why is there evidence that Michael was at your house? Why did you say he was buried in that backyard? Why did you lie? Why did you tell them that? I had to sit here and listen to those trucks every day.
One moment. Maybe we need to take a break before we go on. And I know that that's not a very lovely picture. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it like that. I really didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry about that. But maybe that is what really got it going. Because he was connected by sharing the photo that everybody else did on social media. Was this just the end to investigate them? Was this the gotcha? Because it was associated with the babysitter who has no idea who this person is, or any other suspect, and vice versa. To my knowledge, JD Huff has said they are not aware of any connection whatsoever to the family and them, which the babysitter would be a connection, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? It's a rocky situation. Lots of stones unturned. So maybe that is why the excavation had to happen. $50,000, I believe it was, plus for the excavation for the city.
You've seen him that night.
Brandy,
You've seen him that night. Tell me about the kid. Tell me about the kid on the road. Was it him?
that was not him. No, it was not him.
How come you changed ages? 6.
This is really hard to watch for the opposite reason of gut wrenching. This is infuriating. As much as it is painful, okay? Because a lot of people who were here from the beginning know damn well there was no footage. None. Leaders of Fruitland city government said there was nothing. There was nothing. And they helped search. These people were boots on the ground from the jump. So it's very difficult to hear that. Was this him? If it was him, I guarantee you somebody would have seen him at the splash pad, because there was people at the splash pad. There were people on scooters allegedly going down the road. They would have seen him if it was Michael on 8th Street, not 9th Street. And remember, everyone, he only was on 9th Street and then his scent disappeared. That was the story for the longest time. Okay. So how did we get to here? How?
What?
All of your statements. How come that little boy, where you said you pulled off out of the neighborhood up here on 8th? There are no houses here. You cannot see down 6 houses.
How can you tell me I can't see 6 houses? That was not your son, Brandy. What do you want me to say?
You changed your story continuously, and then you
No,
said,
I haven't.
I'm sorry. I understand that he should have had more patience if he was a normal human being. He isn't. You don't just go fly off the handle and accuse him. If you want answers, you got to calm down. You got to think. And I don't think this was the appropriate time, given her health. I hope that she gets another chance at it if she needs more answers. I just, he doesn't change, dude. He is a habitual person in the inconsistencies of what he says, even if he doesn't mean to. It doesn't matter. This is where it went down.
Yes, you
I
have.
have specified in every one of my podcasts that I've done that my information may not be 100% clear, as it has been almost 3.5 years. Would you remember something 3.5 years verbatim, detail? Would you? Because I guarantee you.
And this is the moment she realized, oh, fuck. My whole beginning of this case was the amount of not rememberings, and it could have been, and the stories got switched. That's the whole reason why my coverage of Michael's case exists, because no one in YouTube knew about it at all, let alone his case. And there's people on this platform that know that, and I'm not going to rehash that tonight because that's just not appropriate tonight. I have a whole playlist full of it, but this was really something. But it's a stressful situation. Maybe she realized, oh shit, maybe not. It's different when it's on the other side and you have someone who is named a suspect. So maybe I'm just out of line on that, but she knows better. I'm sure of it.
Nobody.
The recordings I have of public Twitter spaces will tell you that.
Remember something identical, pinpointing it to it.
Hold up 1 second. We need to give Brandy a second to calm down and
Please,
breathe for a minute.
Tell me, what was the boy doing? that you saw on the road that night.
It wasn't your boy, Brandy. And he was outside of some house playing down the road on the right-hand side. I don't know what house. I don't know exactly what house. I don't have an address to give you, other than it was literally probably like 4 or 5 houses on the right-hand side of the road. And it was not Michael.
Let's not yell, Stacey. Let's not yell, Stacey.
You would have had to drive by the kid, right?
Correct. But by the time I filled up the power steering and we had taken off, he had already gone back inside with his family.
How do you know
I had watched his, because I don't know that it was family's house. All I know is I watched somebody come out of the side of their house and told them that it was time to come inside. And that's all I know. What else do you want me to give you? It wasn't your boy. You want to make up something?
So you were.
And she said that she knows everybody on that road, and there's no children, and that's a damn lie. There's grandchildren, and there is a littles. There's a few littles on both sides of the street. Okay, you've got. Did they really blur their house out? I don't blame them. Look at me. But you have to think about this, guys. There's no children on the street or around. Remember what the story was from the beginning? He went to go look for kids to play with. He went to go look for kids to play with. There are kids that live on this street and the other side. Maybe not exactly, his age. Well, actually, there's grandchildren that frequent in the summer over there, and one of them was there at 9:06. But we're not going to dox these people. There's also a child that was that looks so freaking close, identical to Michael, at the splash pad almost every damn day of the summer. Blonde hair, blue-eyed. When people see it, when I tell them, hey, because I don't like having that kind of stuff on my phone or anything, like that's somebody's child. But go check this out. They're like, holy shit, it looks just like him. But he said specifically, this child did not look like Michael. He would have known. It did not look like him. Somebody would have seen that. And why isn't law enforcement comforting her in that fact? Think about that.
You saw a little boy. You pulled off the side of the road on 8th. Was it on directly outside?
Clarify. I did not see the little boy until after I had gotten out of the truck and opened the hood, and I heard noise coming from the background of somebody playing in the yard of the house. Just to get that straight. We didn't pull off because we saw somebody playing in the front yard. To clarify. Okay,
let me calm down here. So you pulled out of Hidden Meadow subdivision, correct?
Not to mention that Mrs. Smith's mother-in-law's camera would have caught it. Meaning, over by the splash pad, it would have been caught. Agile Homes' camera would have caught something. The camera, I think there's another one at the end of the street on the other side, would have caught something. 804 Southwest 8 had one. Okay? Or at least after Michael's disappearance, maybe not before, I'm not sure. But for damn sure in October 17th, 2021, when there was a peddler salesman homeless guy that was walking around and everybody thought he was snatching kids. There's a report on that. It's very frustrating because these things that I have been trying to establish for the entire fucking community for so long could eradicate 90% of the bullshit that these grifter creators are spinning into nothing. This is why cases go to fucking hell and get drawn out longer than they should. It really pisses me off.
Took a left.
Carry on.
Okay. The next road to turn.
The next right turn was Arizona Street.
Correct. So
we
from
pulled
where
off before that.
Okay, in between, because that's all field right there on the right-hand side. That's nothing.
And there's also a pull-off spot.
Right there, right before the sign on 8th. Or
Correct.
Arizona. On Arizona. So
Correct.
where was the little boy? Because you would have had to pull off right there in front of Arizona and 8th, right
Correct.
there where the pull off is. I've stood there and I've looked down the road. Which house looking down the road? I know you said 5 or 6 houses down the road. You said this child was playing in the yard. Was he standing? Was he sitting?
He was standing in the yard. How else would I notice somebody who was making? He was like having a good time. He was just being himself. I don't know. He was being like every fucking other kid that wants to have fun in their life. Like, I don't know. Like I don't. It was not Michael. Trust me, I'm very familiar with faces, Brandy. And Michael's face was not that boy.
But I know all my neighbors, and there's no children. There are no kids.
Oh,
There was a
yeah.
kid there, and it wasn't
Oh, yeah. Yes, there is.
Michael. So I don't know what else to tell you, other than what I saw and what I heard
Debbie York's grandson.
and what I know that somebody came on the house and told them it was time to come inside. I don't know if these people had friends that had kids or if somebody was babysitting. I don't know.
You saw that person tell that kid to go inside?
I heard the person tell them to come inside.
So you were
The
close
German
enough to
lady has
hear,
one, doesn't
but
she?
couldn't see. Which house? Do you remember which house? I know it's been 1,240 days, 3.5 years of pure hell and nightmares. People claiming they know where my son is and won't tell me. So,
If I knew who your boy was, I would have already told them that at the beginning of everything.
Just please beware. Just watch your tone a little bit, Stacey. Please watch your tone.
He should. He should watch his tone. This is the mother of a missing child, but damn, I don't blame him either. I don't. We know he has explosive, whatever that is, disorder, fetal alcohol syndrome related. What do you expect? What are you expecting? Your internet investigators trying to crack the suspect. And have been getting him kicked out of homeless shelters, getting his job, getting him kicked out of roommate situations, which, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, you're not doing him any favors and you want him to talk and then you accuse him again. I mean, are we in La La Land? Do we just treat people like this because it's this situation specifically? We're a bunch of hypocrites on this fucking platform. Every single one of you that's watching that's a creator, you're a hypocrite. Especially the ones that cry foul when a parent of a missing child is being treated differently.
I'm just curious, which house was it that you saw this little?
It was a beige house. I don't know exactly the number. It was a beige house.
And it's on that right side right there on 8th.
Correct.
Between Arizona and Washington.
Correct.
I know all of those neighbors.
Okay. And I'm sorry that you, okay, and maybe you ever think maybe they were babysitting or maybe, you know,
So the
I know
meat
that
you
they
don't
friend
have
over? I don't know.
grandchildren?
What do you want me to tell you? I don't have anything to give you, Brandy. I have told every fucking thing. You're trying to get something like get me to say I have information. I don't have anything.
Freedley's
Do you
kid?
believe that
You
there
can
was
No.
an Adrian and Brandon were involved?
No, not at all.
Nothing to do with it. If you
No.
don't,
Brandon, me and Sarah were all gone that night, Brandy. We were in Cuna towing Brandon's vehicle back to Fruitland.
It's on the geofencing. I'm getting tired. The maps that was shared with Sarah Wondra. The data, it was there. Unedited. No matter who you hear from, it was unedited. He didn't have the device to change it. Androids, when they sync up with iPhone users, their shared folders, it limits a lot what you can do without that device. You can't do much. Once you upload it and back it up, and you don't have that phone anymore, or the iCloud account, because the police have it, it's a wrap. So, I want to know how convenient it is that he is dropping somebody off at 3:30, 3:45 at the A&W across from your work. Who was that man?
Because I was going to help him repair his spark plugs that he had blew out of the hole because he's a dumb person and doesn't know how to drive. And thinks that high revving a vehicle is the coolest thing ever. Brandy, I will give anything I can for him to come home. I don't have anything. There's nothing I have that I can give to law enforcement. Everything that I have told him is I've told.
Where's Tyler and Bob?
I don't have anything further. I don't know what else you want me to give. I can't just magically pull it out of my butt, Brandy. Like
She's looking for her son. She's frustrated, Stacey.
I know. I want him to come
You
home
said that
too.
you would let her ask questions and that you would speak calmly, so just do so. Let her talk if she needs to talk.
No, and that's
Please
fine. That's
Try
fine.
not to talk over her. And
Like I need you to know, Brandy. Like I have had nothing to do with him. I will put that on my life.
Okay.
I am
well, I'm
okay
gonna
at this
make
point.
a statement right now.
If somebody held me at gunpoint right now, specifically law enforcement, and told me to give them answers, they'd have to shoot me because I wouldn't have anything to give them, Brandy. That's
We're about to
where
wrap
this
it
is
up,
at.
everybody.
At this point, they can go
Pause for a
ahead.
second, Stacey, and let her talk for a minute. Just pause for just a second, please. Thank you, Stacey.
What were you doing before you left?
Before I went to CUNA, I had taken a couple taxi rides that day. Specifically, I got woken up by Sarah at like 11 or 11:30 in the morning with a phone call saying a taxi ride needed to be picked up in Ontario and taken to Boise to the airport. And after
Now, folks, I'm sighing because this is a heavy topic, okay? Finding out who the taxi customers are is going to be an experience when it's going to be put out there. It's going to be a lot, and I think it's going to change this case entirely. I would be, if anybody had any involvement in the disappearance of sweet Michael Vaughan, go now and speak. Okay? Do it now. Sincerely. Now, it's very important. The Boise, the Ontario Kiwanis Park pickup to A&W. It's very important. So let's see what he has to say.
dropping this person off at the airport, as I was headed home, I get another phone call from Sarah saying that a taxi ride needed to go from Ontario to the A&W,
Which A&W?
the one in Payette.
Why did you say the one in Ontario?
I said he needed to be picked up in Ontario and taken to the A&W.
He's guilty.
I'm sure there's many creators.
You know how many times I've said shit like that without even realizing it? Like, when I mean Walgreens, I'll say CVS because, you know, shit happens. You just say things, don't even realize.
I have that clip of the statement of you stating that you didn't go to the one in the art or the
That you went to the one in Ontario.
I already sent my GPS photos. I sent my GPS photos because I had specifically gone to the pharmacy right after I had dropped this person off at the A&W, and I went to the pharmacy at the Albertsons in Payette to go pick up Sarah's prescription because she had just had tooth surgery. I specifically remember picking a prescription because it was the oxycodones or whatever it was. Hydrocodones. For
that
pain.
was all on the 27th?
The what?
That was on the 27th of July,
Yes.
2021.
And I specifically know that it was that because I have pictures and GPS that I've already submitted that state the date and time that I'm outside the brick building, the brick side of Albertsons, in the Lexus, outside the pharmacy on that day.
And he actually found the prescription information.
Michael, you wouldn't give him back?
No, Sarah would never do that. Nothing like that would go on at our house. You need to keep in mind, I'm very keen and very aware of what happens around our house. And there would be no time frame for when something like this would be allowed or had enough time for something like that to happen.
Well, you were incarcerated when you gave the tip, and then Adrian wasn't around, so that only leaves two people, which would be Sarah or Brandon, that could have possibly moved Michael if he was actually in the yard.
No, it's because Sarah was also incarcerated, but she'd only gotten out for a period of like 3 months on pretrial release, and then got violated for violating her pretrial release, and that's when they came and searched the search warrant to the house and hit her with the failure to report the death.
The phone that you showed put you in the park.
The what?
The phone that you showed put you in the park. Kiwanis Park.
Correct. That was where I picked the clients up for the taxi. And I'd taken him to Payette to the A&W where they wanted to go.
And you don't think that looks suspicious that you're at two splash pads that day, but Michael was missing?
No, I don't, because I wasn't at the splash pad. I went to the
To be
apartment
honest with you,
right
this looks more suspicious than
If you look
this
on Google
does.
Maps, there's an apartment complex that's right across the street from there. It has a pond that's literally right
We've
inside
seen what
that pond.
DCOM
It's right
does
across from the
to
park.
things
You have
around.
records of your taxi
Come on now. Come on.
drives one day?
No, most of the taxi customers either paid with cash or card. And that day I went through all of my Square payments because that's what we used for credit card processing. and we didn't take any credit card payments. That was a cash deposit, and it was a $150 ride when I picked the person up from Ontario to Boise. That was a $150 ride one way, and the Ontario one was a $25
About an
ride.
apartment complex next to the splash pad in Payette.
No, Kiwanis Park is in Ontario.
Yeah, so there's a certain apartment complex that this dude came from, but he was picked up at the Ontario Kiwanis Park. Yeah. Do you think the police didn't try to maybe get a hold of him? Maybe they have. Maybe this in particular guy is in jail now. I don't know. The semi-older gentleman from the airport. Maybe they've talking to, or maybe they're trying to figure out who that is. I have a feelings. Maybe they do know now.
The splash pad is there's a park in Payette, but we weren't near the park. I had dropped him off at the A&W. I don't have anything else to give you other than what I said.
No, this is Stacy yesterday.
I wish I could magically make it happen, Brandy.
Did you tell
Like
me?
I wish.
Sarah will be in jail until at least February of 2026 when her parole is up, and it could be 2028 or more.
That Michael is dead.
No, I never
Hi,
said Michael was
Cutie
dead. My mom had asked if he was still alive or what happened. I said, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I can't answer something or confirm something if I don't have an answer.
Your phone showed you being at the Payette Park, not the Kiwanis Park.
You were about to go on break at 4:13, right? So that's when you called Tyler on the phone to check in with everybody. And mind you, Michael was allegedly on the FaceTime that she did with Tyler with the other kids when the older sister never saw him. So maybe that was a misunderstanding.
Yes, I picked up the person in Ontario at the Kiwanis Park,
Okay.
or the apartment complex right next to it.
Okay.
And I took that person from the apartment complex to the A&W in Payette, which I believe is like within walking distance from Albertsons. And I went from there directly to Albertsons to go pick up the prescription for Sarah. And I think I picked up a prescription for my Prilosec or some shit like that. I don't know. So long ago. I don't.
This A&W is
I'm trying to give
where
everything I can, like to the best of my abilities.
Mr. Monkey had ice
Well,
cream.
your phone
That
showed
photo
you
of
were in
him
the park in Payette.
with the striped shirt. That's where he got
I
his
don't know what
ice
to tell
cream.
you.
So
I'm giving everything that I can. I've given
you
everything
put
I
that
can.
out there. That was you.
Okay, correct.
But you never.
But show me where.
That's not
Show me where my GPS history shows that I was in that park, because I wasn't. I had gone by the park to go to A&W to drop him off.
Behind A&W, there's you'd have to 4 by it to go directly across to the park from the back of the A&W. Because
There's a tip. I hope she hears this. There is a tip that was submitted about who was there at around that time over or listening to a conversation about pizza and thinking it was odd. So there are witnesses at that time or around that time that would have seen it. I can promise you that. Matter of fact, the tip that was sent about that, the next damn day the excavation happened. Not even kidding.
it's right across the street from the Albertsons, and there's a yield there because it's two roads.
I know exactly what it is.
So that doesn't make any sense. So you were next to the skate park, is what I was told.
I
That's
was
where
never
you're.
at the park. And until you can show,
You showed it.
I know. I showed that I was at.
It was at 3:45. He did not go missing until 6:40, correct? So why is it so crucial for this time? That's what I want to know.
The Albertsons at 3:30 p.m. exactly like I said.
It showed you next to the skate park in Payette.
Correct, and the skate park is right next to the A&W.
It's across the street and across the park.
Correct. I don't have anything else to give you, Brandy. I would have turned that shit in had I been given some sort of light to it. I don't hide stuff like that, Brandy, and I don't think you understand.
So why were you there?
I
for
couldn't
only
live with
4 hours?
myself if I knew something about it.
When you went to the splash pad in Payette, was
about
it,
it?
you didn't stay there, but you just dropped them off and went and got the prescription and left?
Correct. Dropped them off at the A&W, got
That
the
was
prescription. Say it again.
And that was 3:30?
Correct.
So
And
you
if you guys
She
reach out
said
to Eve,
splash
I have
pad.
sent her all of the GPS location. I showed
Yes,
pictures
you have,
of
and there's
where
more.
I was at 3:30 p.m.
Mm.
And it specifically shows me in the Lexus outside of the pharmacy waiting in the car.
Yeah.
I saw that picture.
Correct.
Right. And what time was it again? When you got that
3:30
call?
p.m. When Sarah called me, I don't know. I was on my
Okay,
way
good time.
back. I think I was maybe 20 minutes out from Fruitland, so 23 minutes estimated. So whatever.
Yeah.
I went and picked him up. I think about 3.
He came back from the airport. And it's very interesting. I always wanted to know about that damn shuttle bus, that transit bus that goes from all around Boise, but specifically the airport and Caldwell. I think that that's going to come into play one day.
So somewhere between 2:30 and maybe 2:50. I don't know. I don't have an exact time frame for you.
Okay. Well, you had showed it, I believe, and you showed it on Eve's as well, and it showed pinning you at the park. And if I guess if you're not living directly
The
here,
splash
it wouldn't
pad
be
in
just fine.
Fruitland at 1:30 p.m.
So 1:30 to 3, you were doing a taxi drive?
No. Yes, correct. It takes an hour to
I
get to
mean,
Boise.
Brandy's not wrong. There is a ping, I guess, in the park, but it's literally this next 30 or 40 seconds of that time. It has them on the road. So I don't know what that has to do with Michael's disappearance, though.
Okay. Yeah.
An hour to get back, which would put me exactly around the time frame of picking up the person in
I
Ontario.
would love to see the footage of him in the pharmacy drive-through at Albertsons at 3 whatever it was, 3:40 or whatever.
And if you look at the time frame at the GPS location that I texted you, or texted and posted on,
You have a taxi business getting a call. He's on his way back from the Boise airport after dropping off some gentleman he's never seen before at the Boise airport. He gets a call after, I guess, visiting Labor Dave after that call and heads out to Ontario, which makes sense to go pick up this middle-aged dude, I think, young middle-aged dude, to take to Payette A&W. That's a very specific. You're going to go all the way to A&W in Payette because there is one in Ontario. You decided that this gentleman decided he wanted the A&W version in Payette. That's interesting. There's something wrong there, or shady about that. And then you just so happen to be around the Albertsons during the upcoming break time. I wonder if it's a coworker that was dropped off at the A&W. Maybe he had to go home and get something and come back. Maybe. I don't know.
So you knew all of this that happened. So what exactly happened at 6:30 then?
we were gone, like it says, like I've told the same exact thing. We were not
When
home
are
at
you seen on
6:30,
CCTV
Brandy.
camera leaving the neighborhood?
You what?
When were you seen on CVT camera leaving the neighborhood?
5:30 p.m.
Well, Sarah's mom.
Now
had
he's
said that
changed
you
this
told
for
her
sure.
You were searching for a lost child before going to CUNA.
That is not true, nor is it anywhere accurate.
That's what her mother said.
Okay, well, then her mother needs to get her facts straight because that was never the case. And I remember specifically Sarah telling her mother before we left, because she communicates with her all the time, and telling her mom that we were going over to CUNA to go tow
I
Brandy's vehicle
guess
back.
she's talked to Sarah's mama. Or they tried to get the letter that her mother wrote in court, but they wouldn't release it. I bet you they got it. Maybe that's where she's getting that from. I don't know.
It wasn't until when we got back that night that the neighborhood was swarming with people. And we had asked what was going on. And then they had told us, and we're like, what the heck?
So you're saying she's mistaken at the time frame of when you told her that you were looking? It wasn't at 7 p.m., 7:08 p.m.
Say it again.
At 7:08 p.m., you didn't. Sarah had told her mom that you were searching for a lost child. I saw
No,
the
that
I saw
never
the
even.
photo.
The what?
I saw the photo.
911 wasn't even called until 7:21, which she got wrong at the beginning. Trauma brain, right? How could she have been searching for a missing child at 7:08 p.m.? And I know everyone's like, Come on, Eve, think about it. She was playing before the 911 call was ever made. No. Mm-mm.
Photo of what?
At 7:08 p.m. of
You
Sarah.
want to send me a screenshot? Because apparently I'm unaware of this. I was never searching for anybody. We were gone, and GPS data shows that we were gone. We were not even home around that time.
But you said you were putting in power steering fluid at 6:48 p.m.
No, 5:30 p.m. How else would CCTV video footage record us? At 5:30 p.m. on 8th Street, parked off to the side.
Yeah,
Like,
he
you
has
guys
said
know, like, I've
6:38.
already seen all
That's
the CCTV video footage from the detectives directly. So, like, you're not going to, like, trick me into knowing what I already know and what I've seen from law enforcement.
I'm not trying to trick you. I want the answers. I want my
I've
son.
given you the answers, and I know you want your son. And if I could give you your son, I'd fucking do it.
I believe.
But don't try to.
And not to mention, Brandon and Sarah and Adrian were at the Applebee's at, what was it, 4:47? I think I have it in here somewhere, but which ironically, LaWanda Westbrook, PR rep extraordinaire, was the one that posted that. So if he was at the house when they left, they would have booked it right after that Applebee's. They would have had to come home, which I think aligns with what Brandon said, but not the time they left. So that's interesting.
My information's on it.
That is a pretty big inconsistency that he has said 6:38 and 5:30 both.
Watch your mouth, sir. Come on now.
Okay, well,
No, I'm sorry to pause so many times. I'm about to wrap this up, I swear. I do remember him repeatedly telling me that 5:30 was the timestamp on the footage and the printout sheets that they would give him when they were trying to interrogate him, and they would quickly take it away or stop it. So that's just what I know.
My information. Okay, well, I'm not going to tolerate being criticized and ridiculed when I'm giving
Brandy,
I'm not disrespecting her.
You did.
Okay, but I'm not going to tolerate being disrespected as well and being ridiculed and criticized when I'm telling you that I know exactly where I was at 5:30 p.m. along with Brandon and Sarah, because we were all in the truck.
And
I asked you to stay respectful, so
Adrian,
just stay respectful, please.
Adrian was at the house. Right? And according
At 5:30 p.m., I was shown by law enforcement when they started questioning me specific video CCTV footage. Exactly like I said. Of being outside, getting out of the truck, because Sarah was driving, I was in the passenger side, and Brandon was in the back seat. And I had Sarah pull off at 5:30 p.m. This is verbatim from CCTV video footage from the police department.
Were you at the house when Adrian came back from Applebee's?
No. Sarah had gotten back with Brandon and Sarah and Adrian had gotten back.
I saw the red truck and you guys leaving at 7:08 p.m.
No. GPS data shows differently.
Whoa, hold on. I did not. Okay. I said I was going to wrap it up at 15 more minutes, I swear. Hold the fucking phone.
Adrian was at the house. That's right? And according
at 5:30 p.m., I was shown by law enforcement when they started questioning me specific video CCTV footage. Exactly like I said. Of being outside, getting out of the truck, because Sarah was driving, I was in the passenger side, and Brandon was in the back seat. And I had Sarah pull off at 5:30 p.m. This is verbatim from CCTV video footage from the police department.
Were you at the house when Adrian came back from Applebee's?
No. Sarah had gotten back with Brandon and Sarah and Adrian had gotten back.
I saw the red truck and you guys leaving at 7:08 p.m.
No. GPS data shows.
She saw the red truck and it was leaving at 7:08 p.m. Who? How? Who showed you what? When did you see it? Who did you see it?
Differently. And I've already turned that in too. And law enforcement showed me video footage. They don't just adjust time frames.
Did they show her something different to see what would happen?
The timestamp was 7:08.
Thanks, Matthew.
No, it wasn't. I've seen the time.
I used to be so much more upbeat.
I'm telling you, information gets modified. I'm telling you what I'm driving. I was in the passenger side, and Brandon was in the back seat. And I had Sarah pull off at 5:30 p.m. This is verbatim from CCTV video footage from the police department.
Were you at the house when Adrian came back from Applebee's?
Ooh.
No.
Fruitland, you have some explaining to do. Are you plotting to see who would rat and who wouldn't, and who would break and who wouldn't, because it looks like they're doing some investigative strategies to see who's bullshit.
Sarah had gotten back. Brandon and Sarah and Adrian had gotten back. Right
I
after,
saw
before
the
I
red
got back
truck
from the house.
and you guys leaving at 7:08 p.m.
No. GPS status shows differently. And I've already turned that in too. And law enforcement showed me video footage. They don't just adjust time frames at 5:30 p.m. exactly like I have said.
The timestamp was 7:08.
No, it wasn't.
Oh man. You know, oof. That's bad. I don't even know what to say. Chris Medina, you better explain yourself. I'm just kidding.
So are you telling me I'm a liar?
I'm telling you information gets modified.
I'm telling you what the FBI modified that to the mother of a missing child. They're going to waste those resources.
I don't mean to laugh, but I had to because, yeah, they would. Oh, yeah, they would. They would waste resources to see who's lying for sure.
Okay, well then explain this, Brandy. It's 3.5 years.
They showed me too.
Okay, cool. And guess what? It's 3.5 years. They quote unquote said they have such solid concrete evidence, right? Yeah. Solid concrete evidence that it's 3.5 years later and there's still no charges. You wonder why? Because they don't got anything, Brandy. Figure it out. Do them. No, they don't. Really?
And I know you're lying, Stacey. And
really?
You know what? I would forgive you if you would tell me the truth about Sarah.
I don't have anything to fucking give you. I don't have anything to give you. And if I had something to give you, I would.
They showed me too. I seen the photos. I saw your confession, Stacey. I seen everything. And you know what?
I saw the photos. I seen the confession. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I didn't capture this at the time.
No, it wasn't. I've seen the facts.
So are you telling me I'm a liar?
I'm telling you information gets modified. I'm telling you what the
FBI modified that to the mother of a missing child. They're going to waste those resources to protect.
Okay, well then explain this, Brandy. It's 3.5 years.
They showed me too.
Okay, cool. And guess what? It's 3.5 years.
Tyler would have been passing at 7:08 p.m., sweetheart. They would have been passing each other as he was searching with the van. Remember? He went to the splash pad, right? He went all over the neighborhood, went up here, down here, back here, up there. He went behind the splash pad, walked to the treesy area, and then jumped over the barrier. And then you told somebody else, I swore it was wood duck. Wood duck. Right? This isn't looking good now.
They quote unquote said they have such solid concrete evidence, right? Yeah. Solid concrete evidence that it's 3.5 years later and there's still no charges. You wonder why? Because they don't got anything, Brandy. Figure it out. Do them. No, they don't. Really?
And I know you're lying, Stacey. And you know what? I would forgive you if you would tell me the truth about Sarah.
I don't have anything to fucking give you. I don't have anything to give you. And if I had something to give you, I would.
They showed me too. I seen the photos. I saw your confession, Stacey. I seen everything. And you know what? And I've seen it. What you did all over the internet, I have seen it. And you continue to lie. You know, there was one time that I said I could forgive someone.
Maybe the confession. Maybe they're talking about the recordings. I don't know. I would love to know what confession and who showed you that shit. Be great.
And if I had something to give you, Brandy, I would.
I'm not
gonna go ahead. Okay, and don't give up. I don't want you to give up. As a mother, you shouldn't give up. And if I had something else to give you, I would.
I believe you do.
Okay, and I believe I know I don't. So
excellent.
There's two different sides there. I'm sorry that you still obviously think I'm a liar and this fucking horrible person.
And you shouldn't give up and you should keep on going. Damn, would a guilty person say that? I mean, like, honestly, maybe he's just that brilliant of a manipulator. I don't know. This is just mind-boggling.
Your prerogative. It's your prerogative. Guess what? It's your prerogative. And you're entitled to feel any way you want. But don't think for once. You're right, you are. But if I had something else to give you, I would. I don't just somehow pass a lie detector test or a polygraph test specifically relating.
Because you're lying about your polygraph test.
Oh, am I?
Yes.
Because that's why the person, Matt, that did the specific polygraph told me specifically that I told the truth. So you want to prove to me where I lied on the polygraph? Do you want to show me a screenshot? Because I guarantee you can't prove that either. You're going off of speculation. There's a reason they stopped.
No, I'm talking about your lawyer. Your lawyer.
My lawyer? Oh, do you think that's a lie? Because it's not.
No, I know it's not a lie.
No, it's not a lie. Because it's not. And it's not fake.
I didn't say it was a lie.
And it's not fake. I never said I was going after the law
I
enforcement.
even invited you and Brandon and both of you and your lawyers, and you can come speak with me. We can be there. You can bring, whoever you'd like. I don't have a lawyer, so but we can gladly bring any of these lawyers in, and we can all sit down and have a conversation. Because I'd like to know why Brandon says you're lying and you say Brandon's lying.
Really? Because Brandon didn't say that I'm lying, and actually I listened to his statement that Brandon, from his lawyer specifically, that Brandon's lawyer was retained to represent Brandon should he ever get charged. I heard exactly the whole statement from his lawyer and what Brandon told. And Brandon's statement confirms everything that Sarah and I told. So
Ted Bundy
show
passed
me.
his polygraph test, right?
Hmm?
Ted Bundy passed his polygraph test, right?
Yep.
Just saying.
Did you
So
see
why were you at the
JLR's
church? What was
interview?
the plan? What was the plan, Stacey? Why
For
were you
what?
for the abduction of Michael?
I wasn't involved in it, Brandy. And there's nothing you're going to do that's going to convince me otherwise.
Stacey, why did you tell law enforcement that you knew?
I didn't say that I knew. I wanted to get them off my back. And maybe if you did a little studying and research on what fetal alcohol syndrome is, and maybe if you had it and you got put in a pressure point situation, you'd do the same fucking thing.
A normal person would say, you know what? We're not going anywhere. You're obviously not swayed or persuaded by my testimony to you. I think that it's best if we just call it, right? That would be a normal response. But not him.
I have a slight medical background, and I do, and I'm quite aware
Okay.
of fetal.
Then you'll understand that being put
I am
in a very
understanding.
pressure pointed situation.
Yes,
in a
that's
very
why I'm
pressure.
here.
Correct.
And you're not being an open book to me. You're getting angry with me and you're not answering
No.
questions.
No, I've answered everything that you need, Brandy. I've answered everything. You still want to accuse me. You still want to do this and do that. Guess what?
I want to know why you're lying.
I'm not lying.
You have
I want to know why you
okay?
think.
You have control issues.
No, I don't have control issues.
Yeah.
I have issues with people slandering me and defaming me and thinking that they have and thinking that they're hot shit and thinking that they know it all. This conversation is done. Y'all have a good night.
Obviously, he's still gonna listen.
He is still gonna listen. I am so sorry. I didn't want to kick him down when he was being disrespectful because I knew you still had questions and stuff to ask. So I'm sorry that you went through that. I'm sorry that I didn't add anybody up because I just wanted you to be able.
And we're done. I want everyone to let me know what they think in the comments about what was said on both sides. Unfortunately, Brandy did get spoken over way too much, and I wasn't able to even hear her. So that was really disrespectful. But also, I have witnessed the bully of Michael's armies, including her. And it's not easy because you don't want to be disrespectful. You don't want to overstep the lines. But when you're being threatened to go get beat up at a bar by your boss, laughing about it and back chats, it's not cool, and it's some people you just fuck around and find out and meet the right ones. So I understand his side too. However, I'm actually more curious about the 7:08 p.m. versus the 5:30 p.m. Timestamps. I am also very interested about the alleged tricycle. I wonder if they showed her a tricycle. I'm very curious. I'm very interested in that. I think that there is more to this story, like it's been said over and over. And I don't think everybody understands the scope of it, like I've been saying for a while. All right, Miss Rebug, I feel like he stepped into a viper's nest and almost felt cornered, like he had to admit something that wasn't there to get them to stop. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta let it be what it is. Inconsistent. I think the most crucial bombshell thing about this case at the beginning was the lies being told of who was on, who saw Michael on Southwest 9th. I mean, that is eyewitness testimony, buddy. That is the biggest thing in the world. If you don't have cameras or don't have anything else, that's your next best thing besides evidence. And it kept changing and changing and changing. And there's nowhere to go for the public to help on that. You got to wait for law enforcement to do their job, as you should. But there's no, what tips are you wanting people to send in if you're not going to give them anything? I think it's because they know the majority of what happened. They just got to find them to confirm it. That's what I've always said. And I hope that this is coming, and I hope that I'm just mind blown that they showed her that data. And did they show Tyler? Did they show Bob? Does everybody know? Can we see it? Since you saw it, right? Which I'm kidding, but they're showing you different times. That blows my mind, y'all. I have to really sleep on that and think about that. But thank you so much for being here. It's almost 3 hours. One of the longest lives I've done in a while. But I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the like button on your way out. And I will see you on the next live. And any updates, please look out for it, because there's going to be some big ones. Big geographical ones. All right, guys. Good night. Be good. Be safe.
See you on next life. Take care and spend your energy wisely.